Kempire is brought to you by.
Do you know how important it is to rate and review a podcast? Rate and review the Kempire podcast today. 5 stars. Let us know what you love about the podcast. Rate and review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Did you know that you can watch the Kempire channel on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter? Follow us on all of our platforms. More information on our YouTube, our Blue Sky, our Twitter, aka X, and more socials, and every way that you can support us will be available in the episode notes.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
What's going on? Let me know if you can hear me, see me. Happy Monday. It's an even happier Monday knowing that I only have one scheduled live recap. As you know, normally Mondays we have Married to Medicine, but I'm so grateful that Married to Medicine is gone. Look, we all need a break. We all need a little bit of a break. Shout out to those of you watching on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, those of you watching on Facebook, and of course, our larger audience watching on YouTube. If you are a channel member, you have exclusive access. Shout out to our Royal Court members and senior royals. You have exclusive access to our White Lotus recap. So be sure to check that out if you didn't join our Club Kempire Baddies, where they were getting my week-to-week live recaps of the White Lotus. But now you have the visual version available for members exclusively here on YouTube, and it is a members only live chat. So shout out to our members, shout out to our new members, shout out to those of you that have been members for a very long time. We appreciate your monthly support. This is just one of the perks of being a member here on the Kempire channel. Shout out to our King's Guards as well. Shout out to our subscribers. We appreciate you guys as always. And of course, shout out to those of you that are watching and you haven't subscribed yet. That's fine too. We appreciate your support as well. How is everyone doing today? Where is everyone watching from? Thank you to everyone, the 233 of you that have already liked this video. We appreciate that support. Keep doing that for the replay crew. Replay crew, we understand you're back in the office, you're back at work, or maybe you're doing something else. Maybe you're just back doing what your regular scheduled errands or whatnot, and you're watching the replay of this. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like the video and don't forget to let us know your thoughts on the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And live chat on YouTube, I've given you a poll to let me know how you'd rate this week's episode. Let me see what the poll is saying in regards to... Replay crew, be sure to let me know how you would rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta from 1 to 10. Based off of almost 500 votes, and keep voting, based off of 500 votes so far, almost 500 votes, you guys are rating this week's episode a 4 to 6 range. 46% of you. 7 to 10, 40% of you. So it's kind of close. 15% of you are rating it between 1 and 3. Here's my thing with The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I've watched it because I'm watching to pay attention to details and what people are saying in regards to this Britt Edie and Kenya Moore situation. But then I had to watch it again to say, okay, am I entertained? Am I interested? Okay, because this is a major shakeup for Real Housewives of Atlanta. All right, it's a big shakeup for them. And I have to say, I'm not really entertained. I'm not completely bored. I don't think what we're getting from Real Housewives of Atlanta is as bad as Real Housewives of New York's last season. And I know every time I talk about Housewives now, I feel like I'm grading them on a curve because of how bad Real Housewives of New York was. So I don't feel like it's that bad because I do like the newbies. I have to say, Kelly is bringing it. I have to say, Angela is bringing it. I'm liking them. But is that enough to keep me glued in? I'm twerking on the fence with that. I'm not sure. But Britt, Britt, hold on. Not interested. And this is not because over here where Kenya stands or we're Team Twirl or anything. No, I'm really basing this off of what you've given us so far. And we're 6 episodes in and I'm not interested. And apparently the feeling's mutual from your husband. Did you guys see when he went to go hug her because she was bawling? Yeah. And he leans down and he's waiting for her to hug him. And then when she does hug him, it's very like, and I get it, it's awkward position to hug for someone, then sit on down, get down to her level and hug your wife. You ain't gonna beat these rumors right now. You ain't gonna beat these rumors. Okay. Nikki says that we need to use the you can leave. Hold on, where is it? But based off of the newbies, I have to say Kelly is definitely someone to watch. Angela, I'm enjoying Angela. As you saw, Portia launched her YouTube channel, so she's been spilling tea on the cast. None of her own tea. She's spilling tea on the cast, okay? And some of the tea that she spilled, Kenya, we already did a separate video. I'm not going to rehash every video that we've done in regards to that. But she did say that there was another current housewife that was trying to get Kenya fired. I don't know if she meant Britt Edie or was it Kelly? Was it Angela? I'm kind of looking at Angela because you saw last week when we talked about that last episode, I was like, Angela was not just twerking on the fence. She was giving two-faced a little bit. Giving one face to Kenya and one face to the other ladies, to Britt. So I don't know if we can believe Portia either. You know, then there's that. Because I have to say, Portia, this whole situation with you and Simon, it's giving even more confusing than the Kyle and Mauricio divorce. But at least we know with Kyle and Mauricio, they were happily married for decades. You and Simon were married for not even 2 years. And you already know, if you've been following the channel for a while, I've never really believed this relationship. I mean, part of me, I believe the relationship now. Come on. Shut up. Shut up. I believe the relationship in regards to they both had opportunistic mentalities coming to this relationship. Do I believe these two ever had sex? Look. And see. I don't want to picture that either. Look. Let me take a sip. Oh, I just had, No, don't want to picture that. Look, I was shocked this week, though. They're talking about Portia had embryos with Simon, meaning her egg, his sperm came together, and they're sitting somewhere. I wonder the legality in regards to what was the stipulations behind the embryo and who gets custody of the embryo. Do you destroy it once you get divorced? They talk about that in this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Was anyone else shocked by the whole conversation about an embryo? I thought it was interesting that Shamia brought it up. I was just like, oh. Were you supposed to spill that tea? I'm assuming they had a conversation that she could bring it up. I don't know. So that was one of the many things that Portia spilled on her YouTube channel this week. Speaking of spilling, Kenya is supposed to be doing her confessionals tomorrow on her YouTube channel. All these reality TV stars are coming to YouTube. Let's see how long they last. We're still waiting on episode 2 of the Nene Leakes show. Don't hold your breath. Okay. Don't hold your breath. That's the thing, Nene. That's the part I don't understand. That has been one of our biggest criticisms of Nene, is her lack of consistency when she comes to YouTube. And I said if she was consistent, she really would grow. But she's not even consistent with that. And look, you only did one episode of the Nene Leakes show, and here we are. Here we are. Still waiting. I mean, I'm not waiting because I already know what that's going to be. You'll get another episode in 6 months, okay? All right. All right, so Portia claims that a current housewife was trying to get Kenya fired. Okay. Portia had a lot of different claims in this 2-part video that she posted on her YouTube channel. All right. I mean, I believe that there's some truth to it. However, I know Kenya came out and slammed Portia for what Portia was saying. And that's when Portia responded to Kenya on social media saying, mentioning the whole underage aspect of Britt Edie's photo. All right. So they talked about that in this week's episode in regards to Britt Eady being in high school. Here's the thing. I think we're still assuming that she was underage because of the high school connotation. But there are people in high school that are 18. I'm just saying, unless you clearly state to me that you were a minor, I'm just going to take it as you're telling me. So it could have been that you were a minor or that you were actually 18 in high school when you did that. I don't want to assume, especially when we're talking about the seriousness of that situation. I need for Britt to say, no, I was a minor. Not just I was in high school, because there's some of y'all got left back. But no, there are some people that are 18 in high school. Okay, some people celebrate, so I think it's important. This Parker says people are 18 and 19 in high school. Yeah, some people got left back. It's okay. All right. Or not even just left back. Sometimes you come back. Let's say you immigrated here and you know what I mean? Things happen. So I don't want to assume, because that has some serious legal ramifications. And I have yet to see Britt Eady confirm that she was a minor. Okay. See, Aaliyah said my cousin was 20 in high school. We'll unpack that a little bit later on, Aaliyah. I mean, look, no judgments. Like I said, everyone's case is a little different. Okay, so that is some of what's been playing out. But speaking of this Britt Eady photo, before we even get into the episode, this is why I have Ming Lee on the thumbnail. You're welcome, Ming Lee. Because I think Ming Lee, remember, the rumor on the street was that Ming Lee was supposed to be one of the Housewives. You remember that, right? I'm sure we have a video talking about it, okay? Because I remember talking about it, all right? I even remember when Ming Lee ended up following me on Instagram and then unfollowed me. Probably that's when the contract didn't go through. I remember Ming Lee because I was hearing that Ming Lee was going to be on the show, and I went and I looked at her Instagram, just doing some research, and I was like, oh, she's following me? So that for me also said, oh, maybe she is going to be on the show. But then I don't remember how long it was. It wasn't that long after that I went back to her profile. I was like, oh, she unfollowed me. And then word on the street that she was not going to be on the show anymore. But here's the thing. Ming Lee knows a lot of these women, including Candy. And she mixes and mingles with these women. So it makes sense for her to be on the show. But she at the time was not married. Now she's going to be on Basketball Wives. I mean, she's not married to Ty Young either. But now that's her relationship. Is that a relationship just for TV, though? I don't know. Ming, I have to say, the way you move so far based off of what we're seeing, it's giving like you're desperate to be on reality television. And it doesn't mean that she doesn't have the businesses or the what people want to see, but there are a lot of people with the businesses and the money and maybe the notoriety to be on reality television. But their big thing is they want to be on reality television. They want to be famous. They want to be known. They want to be talked about. So that's the energy that I'm getting. That's the vibe that I'm getting from Ming Lee. And I've said this before in regards to last week when we were talking about this, when people were saying, I saw that Jessie Woo had spilled tea in regards to Ming Lee was the one that gave Kenya the photo. Ming Lee has denied that. And I thought that was important, especially now if we're talking that Britt allegedly was a minor or underage or in high school in that photo. Okay? So, Ming Lee. So there was a little bit of a back and forth. And I know some of you have been hitting me up asking me to talk about this. And I said, I can talk about this. Like I was Real Housewives of Atlanta out by the end of last week. I was like, I don't want to talk about these women anymore. Everything is more interesting off the show than on the show. And that's where I got tired. So Britt and Ming had their little back and forth on social media in regards to these photos, because the word on the street was Ming was the one that gave the information to Kenya. Okay. All right. So I have a couple of the screenshots. Shout out to our friends over at RHOA Talk on Twitter. That's where I've garnered. You know what we do over here. We always cite our sources. So Britt to Ming on social said this. Okay. And then we'll get into the recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta for those that are just joining us. So Britt says, internet didn't tell Kenya anything because where is it all over the internet? That's one of the things that we've said. It's like, well, because everyone kept on saying it's not revenge P. Look, we're not going to debate that anymore. Can we all let that go? Okay. Kenya's not facing any charges in regards to revenge P. She's not being sued in regards to revenge P. So let's just let it go. Okay. Let's all let it go because it's all with our pretend law degrees. Let it go. Let's accept Miss Esquire. Okay. She's got a real one. All right. So again, I said this last week. I said, well, if this was so publicly accessible, why don't we see it on social media? Okay. Well, probably because of the whole narrative that it would be not revenge P, but CP. You figure that out. I'm not saying it. Britt says, internet didn't tell Kenya anything because where is it all over the internet? Ming told me herself in a drunken night at an event in Miami for a whole hour. She has saved explicit images of me on her phone, saved for a rainy day. Very weird to admit to. She ain't innocent either. Can't help we dated the same people. So apparently they both dated Rick Ross. Okay. Okay. So this is what Britt Eady was responding in regards to Ming Lee denying having any explicit photos of Britt Eady. So Ming says this, oh Lord, I'm about to enlarge this. Lord have mercy. There we go. Okay. So Ming says this, I wasn't drunk. And what I said verbatim was, if I had given those pictures or video to Kenya, it wouldn't have been the ones I have in my phone of you at that party. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. But Ming, why do you have explicit photos of Britt Eady anyway in your phone? Okay, but whatever. Okay. Where was I? She says, so she says, it wouldn't have been the ones I have in my phone of you at the party. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those are not on the internet, nor have I ever shared or shown them to anyone. But why are they in your phone? Okay, but fine. Okay. She continues. And I've had every phone since 2011. Britt, you're 1 year younger than me, so you were well over age. And this narrative that I'm mad because we dated the same person is complete BS. One of my best friends used to be his fiance, which you were cool with before you even dated him. So stop it. They're talking about Rick Ross. Allegedly, I'll say, because they didn't say it. I don't have a problem with you, like I said, to your face, and I would never leak or share any pictures or videos of you, period. You had a past, so what? Just tell everybody your hoe got deleted, and you're married now. FYI, and that image from that video is still on the internet as we speak. Like I said, the internet told your business, not me. Now leave me alone. This is just giving... All of them are fighting for a position on Real Housewives of Atlanta. All right? Clearly, Ming wanted to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Britt wanted to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta. At this particular point, either one of them, they can go. Because I'm not interested in either one. We didn't need another single person on Real Housewives of Atlanta. We didn't need this energy of threatening whips and pistols. We've already discussed, because I know some of you are like, Kempire, you got to talk about how Britt Eady lied in that Instagram story that she had posted that she didn't threaten Kenya. Let's talk about what she said last night on Watch What Happens Live. She's like, oh, it wasn't a threat. Andy seemed confused. Andy seemed bored, confused. She said she's now claiming that it wasn't a threat that she made to Kenya. Oh, then what? It wasn't a threat? You mentioning multiple times and then saying, F these cameras, that sounds like a threat. And you may recall when Kenya was on, we talked about this last week as well. I'm just reiterating to give context for people that might be new here. When Kenya was on the Tamron Hall show, she mentioned that production did not take her concerns about Britt Eady threatening whips and pistols. And yes, Britt, I did see the old YouTube video footage of you talking about you carrying your pistol. Andy on Watch What... Damn, there's so much context I gotta give you. Andy on Watch What Happens Live did confirm that there was an investigation, and he had to, again, for legal and HR reasons, he had to confirm the investigation discovered that Britt did not break any policies. Britt said she didn't have a pistol on her. Did they check her that day? Because how do you know? I'm willing to bet money they did not check her that day. Did they check her car? Did they check Mike, who was there? How did they know? And what policies did she not break? I need to see Bravo's code of conduct, because allegedly that's what they said that Kenya broke, the code of conduct. And she did. Kenya's wrong. No one's making excuses for Kenya. However, when Andy said that last night on Watch What Happens Live, I said she didn't break up. We completed the investigation and we discovered that you didn't break any policies. Let me see your policies. Please let me see your policies, because all of us, Pageant Mommy, who's in HR too, we saw a bunch of policies broken. The threats is the part of the reason why you had to initiate an investigation. And if you only initiated an investigation because Kenya complained, I have even bigger concerns, because multiple witnesses, both cast and crew, heard what Britt Eady said. And you should not only be concerned that Kenya didn't feel safe or felt unsafe. You should be concerned that your crew. Remember, we just did a whole video talking about Patrick McDonald, who was a producer for Bravo, coming out talking about the things that are happening behind the scenes and how production is treated, and cast and crew and production are treated. So you guys had no concern for their safety either. Because if I was a cameraman or a sandman or a producer, I would be concerned. I'd be like, if she's threatening Kenya like that, where am I? Like, I don't even go to certain places because of concerns for safety. So you think I'm going to be in a work environment hearing a housewife threaten pistols and whips? Like, you got a big problem. When Andy said that we discovered that you didn't break any policies, I was like, you didn't break any. So threatening someone with multiple times with pistols and whips doesn't break any policies? I thought that language was interesting. I thought that language was very, very interesting. I think he could have said it differently to cover themselves, but to say that she didn't break any policies, like all of us HR folks have been saying for weeks, no matter how you feel, like Kenya broke policy, but so did Britt. And if anything, Britt would have been immediately removed from filming. Maybe not forever, but at least for a week while we investigate the situation. Andy Cohen said on Watch What Happens Live, we investigated and it was discovered that you didn't break any policies. Britt says that she did not have a pistol or a whip. Well, she didn't say that. I'm adding that part. Okay. On her at the time. Again, if you completed an investigation, when? After the fact? We don't know if she didn't have a pistol on her or a whip or in her car. She probably had a whip in her car. You know, the whip. Never mind. Pageant Mommy, who also works in HR, says threatening without weapons is against COE. Certainly with weapons would be against any COE. I just thought that language was very interesting that Andy Cohen used yesterday on Watch What Happens Live. I also thought Britt was very interesting on Watch What Happens Live, saying that what she did, although she's like, it was very wrong, but I don't think it wasn't a threat. Girl. And that's the thing for me, because when we heard about it, remember when we heard about it, we were like, okay. And then blogs were coming out and saying that Bravo completed an investigation and the claims of a pistol or anything like that were unfounded. Remember when that came out? Only for Bravo, and y'all left it in. You had to leave it in. And only for us to find out it wasn't just once. It was multiple times. It was a weird energy. And then when Britt was questioned about what was your issue with Kenya, remember I kept on saying at the beginning of the season, I said there had to be more. There had to be more. There was no more. Even when she was asked on Watch What Happens Live, Andy was just like, so what was it? She's like, she was just giving me weird energy from the beginning, from the moment I met her. They literally met at Shamia's birthday party. So that band comment has had her triggered ever since then. And every scene since then, she would bring it up. It was weird. It seems as if you wanted to have an issue with Kenya. You just didn't realize that Kenya would take it to hell. Damn. Kenya, I can't even defend what you did. I'm so disappointed that you allowed this newbie, this one-hit wonder, it's not even a hit, this one-season wonder, to move you out of your position, to ruin your relationship with the network. I can't believe that you allow this woman to do that to you. I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know why you would even allow that in your head when you have so much going on. Now you have a daughter. I can't believe that you would allow this woman to... It's beyond disappointment, Kenya. Beyond disappointment. Because this was such an amazing opportunity that you were welcome back for this season. With the whole reboot happening, you were coming back, still getting your coin. Probably, she was going to be the highest paid on this cast. Oh, no. Sorry, Portia. Portia is. Second highest paid on this cast. Good money. And you let that woman push you out of this position. And I have to agree with the cast reaction to it at the beginning of this episode, where it's like a salon is supposed to be about making women feel great. And you decide to do this. And we talked about this last week. You could have had potential business partners, potential investors, people that wanted to franchise this business. And you took that away from yourself. You did that to yourself. I don't care. Yes, the way that they handled the whole pistols and situation should have been handled properly. And Kenya said on Tamron Hall that they made her feel like she was a black Karen because they weren't taking it serious. I believe that. I do believe that. But that doesn't mean, Kenya, you take it to hell. What you should have done was take some legal action. What you should have done is not invite her to your hair spa. What you should have done is literally pay her dust the rest of the season. Because understand, you gave her relevance this season. You gave her a storyline. You gave her a reason to be like, for people to feel sorry for her. And look, I do feel sorry for her because nobody needs to be shamed for their past, for something that they did with their partner. No one should be shamed for that. Ever. But if you had paid her dust, she would have been here this season and gone the next. I still think that's going to happen, but I thought it was interesting that she felt like Drew Sidor should be put on pause. Do I disagree with that? Not necessarily. I just find it funny because I can see Drew coming back before I see Britt coming back. Britt's not friends with any of the women currently. She's not friends with any of them. It doesn't make logistical sense to bring Britt back if she doesn't have a relationship with the rest of the women. And she doesn't have a personal storyline. She's not very likable. But we'll get back to that. All right, moving on. Okay, where do I begin in this episode? I talked a lot already. It's already 30 minutes in. But I had to cover some of the stuff that's been playing out on social media when it comes to Housewives of Atlanta. Okay? All right. Someone says that Britt is so nasty, so rude. I have that soundbite. Hold on. Where is it?
So nasty. And that's what happened. So rude.
Look.
So nasty. And that's what happened. So rude.
All right. Oh, I still didn't remove that damn song from my soundboard. Nope, I'm not playing it. Shan says that Kenya fumbled the bag. All right, before we get to the episode, let me say thank you because we did receive a few super chats. Shout out to those of you that have requested me on Cameo. Some of you bought some of the merch and everything like that. All of that information is available in the description. And don't forget, I am on Cameo. I always forget. If you want a birthday shout out, anniversary shout out, Mother's Day shout out, Mother's Day is right around the corner as well. Miss Esquire, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Miss Esquire says, I felt this episode was emblematic of the empathy that Black women often are not granted. even from other Black women. Hard to watch, honestly. Daniela, thank you so much for the super chat. Danielle says, I feel like Bravo will keep Brit. She'll be that villain that everyone loves to hate, like Lisa Rinna, Kenya, Erica Jane, etc. Ugh, she needs to go, though. Here's why I don't believe that. If she was a good villain, if she was entertaining, if she had reads and shade that were interesting, that would make sense. Even on Watch What Happens Live, I wasn't entertained by her. But I've been saying that even before the whole Kenya stuff played out, it's like, okay, Brit's not very likable. Of the newbies, she's the least likable. I like Angela. I like Kelly. Even Drew had me giggling in this week's episode, talking about buying snacks for Pilar with the royalties from this album. Okay, girl. So I don't see her coming back next season because, again, not likable. There's nothing really that she's bringing. And I'm sure when they do their Bravo focus groups, they're going to be like, yeah, the audience isn't connecting with her. She's probably part of the reason why the demographic and the ratings keep going down. Queen B, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. I'm having a hard time telling Ming and Brit apart. Yeah. Like, I completely understand, Queen B. Amber, thank you so much. And the cutest dog, Amber the Sag, thank you for being a member and for the super chat. Amber says, remember when the Real Housewives franchise was supposed to be aspirational? Glad I didn't watch this episode. Envisioning the group trip-ish show. The show is now ratchet. We'll watch your recaps. Why I gotta watch it? I don't even watch Love and Hip Hop anymore. I am tempted, though, to watch Basketball Wives because the trailer was good. Also, why did Jackie Christie randomly follow me? I was like, Third of all, I kind of want to get to know Ming's personality and see what we missed out on for Real Housewives of Atlanta. But then I'm not sure if I believe Ming in this Tai Young relationship. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Maybe if I have nothing else to do, I will. No to Queen, thank you so much for the super chat. No says, Brit started at Shamia's party counting divorces. That's how they got on the topic of her ring in the first place. Either way, no matter how you spin it, her making Kenya be triggering to her for how many episodes in was weird. Even to this day, her explanation is weird. Even Andy was just like, okay. Ty, thank you so much for speaking of Ty. Ty, thank you so much for the super chat. Ty says, Timu Nikki had no excuse. She wanted to come for Kenya for a TV moment. Not Timu Nikki. Myra, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Myra says, Brit's outfit on Watch What Happens Live was ugly, but Brit's reason for not liking Kenya was weird. She just wanted to have an issue with her over that ring. But Angela going at it with Brit over her license, oh, we're going to talk about that because y'all going to stop sleeping on us Tauruses thinking that we're punks. Y'all better stop. Look. We're going to talk about it, Myra. Born to Win, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Born to Win, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Guys, you can also support just by liking the video. We're already almost at 800 likes. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. All right, Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Keith says, Brit is peak delusion. I don't know how someone can constantly pick on you when this is y'all second time together. Where's Dr. Mimi? At this point, even Dr. G. Now, Keith. I mean, I guess if you just want a psychiatrist assessment of the situation, maybe. All right. Let's get into this episode. So 48 hours after the situation with Kenya, they replay. Did y'all notice? I have to go back and watch last week's episode, but I'm not going to. It wasn't that interesting. Because we know, if you heard the audio of Kenya at the event, she was like, who is this hoe? And based off this week's episode, it said, who is this girl? Again, they sign off in their contracts, and now with AI voices and things like that, I wouldn't be surprised that they change what Kenya said or use Kenya saying girl before and putting it in there. I just noticed that. The weird things that I noticed, okay? So they replay all of that. You see the women's reaction. And I said last week, I think Kenya in the middle of it, you can see, again, she was drinking. They showed multiple times Kenya taking a shot. Maybe just to get the liquid courage to do it. Because I think Kenya in her right mind was sort of like, Shan says, I'm not going to say it's a Shan, but play Delulu by Juicadora. I love that song. I love that song. It's a good song. It's a good album. Shout out to Juicadora. I already did a video talking about how good the album is. All right. So you see the women's reaction, even Cynthia. And if you saw Watch What Happens Live, it seems as the only one that Britt is getting along with is Portia and Cynthia. You Team Tora, leave Cynthia alone. Leave Cynthia alone. Let's see how this plays out. Cynthia wasn't there for what went down between Kenya and Britt. But you could see Cynthia's disappointment in her friend. And she's just like, I know you, and this is not you. You're above this. You're better than this. Okay? And I think Kenya, being stubborn, thinking to herself, I have to double down on this. I can't show weakness here. And I know everyone keeps saying Kenya had to show this to someone. Production had to know. I really don't think anyone knew, y'all. Because I think even with production, they would have been like, girl, we can't do that. I really don't believe anyone knew besides Kenya. I really don't. And those friends of hers that are justifying it in the comment section, y'all not real friends. There's no justification. I don't care what Britt did. Again, this is a work environment. Look who loses the most. Britt has nothing to lose. Okay, maybe her insurance license that she didn't lose. We're going to revisit that. Okay, you had so much to lose here. Your reputation in this space, your business, your hair care business, your hair spa business, potential investors, your Bravo check, your relationship with Bravo, traders, your continued relationship with Bravo and Peacock and NBC Universal. You had so much to lose here. And I really believe if she had showed this to someone with some sense, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't be. And the more we talk about this, the more we this plays out on Real Housewives of Atlanta, the more disappointed I am. And you remember when we covered this, it was just a level of disappointment. Just like, damn, Kenya. And I'm not saying that she can't come back from this, but the ramifications of what you did, it's going to be hard to come back from this. At least when it comes to a relationship with the network. But I could tell Andy, because he has been in communication with Kenya, I think he too is disappointed. But we have to remember, he's a boss. He can't show too much emotion. He can't show too much favoritism, even though we know he does. Okay, we saw that in this week's episode as well. When it comes to Watch What Happens Live, when Mark from Ugly Betty was talking about how much he dislikes, how much he dislikes Kyle. This week is the last recap of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm also looking forward to that. Okay? Mr. Melanin Magic says the devil in me would do the same, but not at a party, but more like a get-together. I don't think that would have made it better either. I mean, yes, business-wise, if she did it at a get-together is one thing. But regardless, I don't think she should have done it. I mean, again, we talked about this last week, if she had brought it up, and said it like, oh, I heard about this, I saw pictures, but I think that's one thing as opposed to putting on a poster board and showing it to the public at your function. Okay, we could talk about, and honestly, this is probably the most interesting part to talk about when it comes to this episode, but let me get through the episode. So 48 hours later, we have everyone reacting. We're back at Britt's home with her husband, and she's, of course, very much emotional because she finds out later what Kenya did, and all the blogs, Team Twirl, she called them her minions. They probably were all they probably still are in her comment section talking about her. She received calls from her friends, family about this. Because remember when it first happened, I was like, no, Kenya didn't do that. Remember, Media Takeout was the first to come out with it. And we're like, no, Kenya didn't do that. And then more information came out in regards to it, confirming that this actually happened, okay? She said business partners were DMing her about this. Okay. Do I believe all of that? I believe definitely friends and family. Business partners, I don't know if I believe that, but I think this is her way of emphasizing to Bravo, to HR, how this is affecting her. But again, can I be mad at that? No. Kenya, you did this. You put her in a power position. Okay? She says that, I spent $250 on flowers for her. Fine. Okay. And she says that this was very calculated. Without a doubt. It was definitely calculated. She put this on a poster board. She had old photos of Britt before any surgeries or anything like that and put it on there. You even did something on the insurance aspect of her career. You referred to her as a lady of the night. Okay. So Britt's claims that she might lose her license over this. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. And look, I don't work in that world, but I'm so glad that Angela does and understands. But I think we also understand if you have any sort of license, you're not just going to lose your license at this particular point. Remember when this is being filmed, 48 hours later, I don't believe that her license was in jeopardy based off of what MediaTakeout.com was reporting or what we were talking about on these YouTube streets. I don't believe that. I think she's pointing that out for NBC Universal, for Bravo, in regards to like, I could lose my license, my livelihood. This is my speculation. I'm not saying it's fact. I just don't believe that you're going to lose your license or your license was being investigated off what the blogs were saying or what Kempire said on his YouTube channel. I mean, I was just reporting what the blogs was saying. But I thought it was interesting when we get to the peace brunch later on that Shamia, who I believe, because Shamia has not lied to us yet. Right? I believe Shamia. It's like, oh, she lost her license. So you told Shamia that you lost your license. Okay, girl. So Britt confirms that the picture that was shared, she says that when she was a teenager, that I think she said teenager. I wrote down teenager, but I can't remember if she said teenager. But again, teenager could be 18, 19. I don't know. It's important for me to put that out there. Okay? That she was giving fellatio to her then boyfriend who recorded her. Okay? She then also admitted in her 20s to being a cam girl. And again, is that something that we could do? Well, maybe that's not our thing. I'm not trying to shame people because there are people currently with OFs making tons of money, living their best life, and they have no problem. Fine. So I think, especially in this day and age, I think we're getting to a place of where, girl, your body, your choice, as long as you're choosing to do whatever you want. So that's fine. However, to take images from that and to blow it up and to show it to the world, and they didn't pay. I'm just saying, come on, and they didn't pay for it. I can see why she would be upset and emotional and embarrassed. Okay. So she talks about that. She also talks about that she had wiped the internet from having any of that stuff. Remember, was it last week? Yeah, last week we talked. Remember, I told you I spoke with Tana, who signed a contract with Bravo and NBC Universal. And in that contract, it says you can't have any of this stuff out here on the internet. Even if you sent photos to a husband or a boyfriend or an ex, like you can't have, that was in her contract. Everyone's contract is different, but it's still NBC Universal. So I find it to be interesting that this stuff may have been out there and maybe she did not fully share that information with Bravo or NBC Universal. Is that why we're saying that it happened when you were underage? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. I'm speculating. I'm trying to give you the full view of what I've discovered. Okay. Let me take a sip. KJ on TikTok says Portia said in an interview, well, not an interview, it was on her YouTube channel, that the pictures were it was in the comment section. She said that the pictures were when Britt was underage. Did Britt tell her that when they had lunch the other day? Just asking. Okay. Keith says, but didn't Faye Resnick do Playboy? Remember, Faye was never a full-time person on Bravo. She might have just signed a release to be on Bravo. Didn't mean she probably didn't get paid to be on Bravo. That's a little different. I signed a release to be on Bravo, and nothing that not that there is, but I'm just saying that wasn't in any release that I signed. So it's different when you're talent and you're being paid by Bravo or NBC Universal versus signing off a release to appear. So I don't think Faye has been paid to appear on the show, but maybe she has. And everyone's contracts are different. I always tell you guys that. Just because one person says one thing, just because someone signed the Bethany clause, doesn't mean everyone signs the Bethany clause. And not if you have a good agent and attorney. Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's take a sip. Moving on. Every time we mention Faye Resnick, the morally corrupt Faye Resnick, Lord. Shout out to all of you that are becoming members. We appreciate your support. D, thank you so much for the super chat. D says, Kempire, I just want to know if Peach Juice blocked you again. You know what? I meant to check. Let's check live. Okay. D says, Kempire, I just want to know if Peach Juice blocked you again. I love your reviews because I don't have to watch. You know what? Let's double check. I don't think she's gonna block me until the season's over. Let's check. No, we still go Portia. We still good Portia. I can see the profile. Let me see. No, we still good. I can see the profile. But again, never stop this train from, not train, this underground train. Come on. No, we are still not blocked. Let the countdown begin. It's all right. All right. Again, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy and a free way of supporting the channel. We have 3,500 people watching on multiple platforms. Shout out to those of you watching on TikTok, Twitch, Twitter as well. We see you guys. Wait, let me see what Twitter's saying. Hey, Melan says, yes, we can hear you. We can hear you clearly. Thank you so much. Zoe, we'd give this episode a 6. They're watching on Twitter. Shout out to Cheryl watching on Twitter. Cheryl says, it's not super entertaining, though. Like, we need more. And maybe that's part of the reason why they bring Phaedra. Phaedra's supposed to be starting soon. She's supposed to go on their cast trip. Not the, what was it? I forgot, was it Nashville they went? I don't remember where they went. Let me see. Kay says, Portia ain't doing her job. Kay says, Kelly is the best. Angela surprised me with being a good pick. I have to say, I agree. I agree with that. Cheryl says Nene should have just did her own YouTube. She does have her own YouTube. I don't know. Wait, hold on. Shu Sheng says Team Twirl is here. Uh-oh. Okay. Lavon says that it was mid at best. It was just okay. If I had to rate this week's episode, I probably would rate it like a 5.5 maybe. It was just okay. All right. All right. Let me just answer this. Hold on. SD Max says Jenna from OC had old Playboy pics. I don't believe that clause exists. I'm telling you from an actual talent that says that was in their contract. I'm not saying this in everyone's contract, but I'm telling you that is coming from a Bravo talent. That was in their contract. I'm not making that up. That's not a source. They told me I can say it. It was in their contract. So do that what you will. I'm telling you what I found out, okay? All right. Moving on. All right. So Kelly arrives. I have to say, Kelly is definitely a ball of energy. Can she be a little loud? Yes. But I like her energy. See, it seems like she's trying to be friends with everyone. This is how newbies should always come in. Not try and play anyone's team. And that's the energy I feel like Angela is trying to do, and I feel like Kelly is trying to do. So she shows up for Britt, and she brings food, and she brings... Oh, wait, did we talk about how her husband... We did talk earlier. When Britt got really emotional, and then Mike comes in, he walks over to her creepily, and he's like, "Do you need a hug?" And mind you, he's not reaching out his arms. He's not reaching out his arms. She has to reach out her arms to put around him, and then he's just lightly hugging her. It's weird. It's a weird, and I get it, it's an awkward position to hug someone, but I'm gonna pull my billionaire up. Oh, wait, not my billionaire. But I'm gonna pull you up, I'm gonna hug you, I'm gonna give you a bear hug. Like, it's gonna be all right, boo. It was giving, is it okay to touch you? Andy said on Watch What Happens Live, the energy that he gives is like he doesn't want to film, but he does want to film. And he's like, oh, no, it's been a pleasant experience. Oh, okay. Like, all right. All right. So Kelly arrives. Kelly arrives with food. She even has an IV specialist come through. And, like, she's really festive. I can appreciate that about Kelly. And she seems like she's very warm. She's very motherly. But she still has like a very light, bubbly, youthful energy. I like that. I mean, she's a little loud sometimes, but it's okay. It's all right. Can't like everything about everybody, all right? I mean, personally, like, I probably would not love that around me all the time. I'm like, girl, you're loud. But fine. I still like her, though. So Britt says that she hopes that when she gets older, she doesn't end up like Kenya. And then Kelly says that, you know, she's so shocked by Kenya's behavior because she's like, that's not the person that I've met. All right. And then they talk about the whole situation because Britt says, you know, she feels like Kenya's been poking her since Shamia's birthday party. This is where you lose me every time, Britt, because I'm like, that's the situation. I kept on saying to you guys from episode 1, there has to be more. There is no more. There is nothing else. Nothing else. Oh, I'm frozen. Hold on, y'all. Please hold. I am frozen. Please hold. Actually, let me switch this out. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to stay frozen for a second. Oh, hold on. There we go. Now we can. I figured out how to fix it when I freeze. It's something. Look, there's something in the wire. I might have to get a new wire, but I fixed it. Yes, for me. Yay! I fixed it. Turn into Shamia. Okay. Can you guys see me, hear me now? Just want to make sure. All right. Kimberly says, Frozen Kemp is taking me out. I know, I'm so expressive. I can't even help myself. I figured out how to fix it, y'all, without having to end the live. I might have to get a new wire or something. I don't know what that was about. But it's okay. They're not going to stop us from being great here today. Okay. Big Miss Muffin, the fact that you said that, okay. Get on with the light now. Get on with the light now. I promise I'm going to get rid of that this week. Okay. Promise. All right. Thank you, Nadia. Nadia says, yes, you're good. Thank you, guys. You guys are helping produce the show. Okay. Let me take a sip. I've been talking a lot. So I can appreciate Kelly coming there for support. And she mentions to Britt that she's going to host an event for all the girls. Britt says, you know, I love all the girls. I love all the other girls. Not until you get to this peace brunch, because I'm seeing a different energy towards the women, okay? Elizabeth says, please don't. No, it's going. The song is going, okay? All right. Where are my notes? I have to say, some of the scenes, though, with these women, I'm just not that interested, if I'm being honest. All right. Let's move on. So everyone but Britt and Kenya meet at Shamia's house. I have to say, Shamia's house is beautiful. And I love that we're like every episode we're getting to see a different room in the house. Let's continue to do that. Like we're in the backyard, we were downstairs, then we went up to another room. Now we're out on one of the balconies. I'm like, all right, Shamia, I like it. Because I love decor, so I can appreciate that. Okay. So Angela arrives because everyone is making all kinds of comments about Angela and her fan. Angela and her fan. She's always got her little fan with her. And she says that she's not premenopausal. Look, some people run hot. I run hot too, but I don't walk around with a fan. Okay? I can't even turn this on. But it's fine. So she says, I'm just a hot bee. Okay? But she's not premenopausal. What do you guys? Well, how old is Angela? She might be premenopausal. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Angela. But she also might just run hot. Some people just run hot. And we also have to remember when this is being filmed. This is being filmed in the middle of a Georgia summer. Remember that? Like, this is June, July, maybe. No, June. So, this was probably like July. No, it was like June, July. They were filming this. So it's also hot in Georgia. Remember, I came and did a show down in Georgia in July. So I'm like, I kind of get it. Maybe it's a tourist thing. We run hot. All right. Okay. Mama Ellie says those fans are lifesavers during menopause. Okay. Philly John says menopause is a different beast. As someone that has sisters that have gone through it, they probably don't appreciate me telling them that. Sorry. It makes you feel like you're going crazy. That's from what I hear. Just saying. All right. So the women are talking about Kenya and what went down with Kenya. And Portia says Kenya twirled on down to hell. And Kelly responds and I don't think she ever came back up. So they then ask whether or not they could be able to forgive Kenya. So I feel like them reacting, but more than likely, this is during the whole investigation, and it wasn't 100% clear that Kenya wasn't going to start filming with the women again. And Portia, in that moment, doesn't say how she truly feels. She waits for the confession to be like, if it was me, I would have been done with Kenya. And she said that moment sort of triggered her. And a lot of you said, did you pay attention to Portia's facial reaction during that? Yeah, I told you guys. I told you guys that I felt like Portia's face said to me, "And there's the Kenya that I've always known." That's the face that I got from Portia. Portia wanted no parts of that. All right, but Portia says in her confessionals that she would be done. She would be done with Kenya. Kelly agrees. She's like, I don't know if I could move forward with Kenya after something like that. All right. Then sidebar. They talk about Portia. Portia says that she would be done. Angela asked Portia what she meant about Charles. So she does confront, because Portia on her YouTube channel did mention that there was a lot more. First of all, she mentions that there was a lot more that happened between Kenya and Britt. She says that argument, the way that they edited it, and we always say you're watching an edited show. They said the way that the conversation between Kenya and Britt was a lot longer than what we saw. The back and forth, okay? She also mentions that Angela, went off on her about the whole Charles comment. I believe that. As a fellow tourist, you talking about me and mine, you're going to get the fever. But the way that they edited it seemed very lighthearted. Like Angela didn't say a lot more. Apparently, Angela had a lot more to say. So Angela brings that up at this meeting at Shamia's house, and Portia's just like, "Oh, I was just playing." Do you guys think that Portia was playing? I don't know. I think Portia wants to play it off like she was playing, but I think Portia and these Atlanta streets probably have said what everybody's been saying in regards to their situation. So I think she was not joking. I don't think Portia was joking. Portia was joking. I think she wants to play it off like she was joking because she's not willing to say what she's heard. Okay. All right. So Portia then talks about, they go outside and Portia talks about Simon and PJ asking about Simon. Where's what did she call him? Pop or something like that? Where's Pop? And she's like, oh, he's working. She says that she reaches out to Simon and Simon left her on red. Simon did not respond to her. So she gets really emotional talking with the other women. Shamia, being a real friend, gets up. Shamia had more affection for her best friend than we saw Mike have for Britt. Britt's full on bawling, and Mike is just like, Shamia gets up and she wraps her friend up. Mind you, her friend's a lot bigger than she is. She wraps her friend up and is there for her friend. We're going to talk about you, Shamia. Hold on. Okay? So she mentions that Pilar asks about Simon. She reaches out to Simon, and Simon doesn't respond. And he has his read receipts on, so she knows that he received it. She said that Simon used to make her feel safe. I'm sorry. I don't know what to make of the situation. It's giving Kyle Richards because we don't understand. And even in Portia's confessionals, she's just like, he knows what broke us up. He knows. She feels as if she was in front of him, that they would have a very different conversation. Can you share with us what happened? Because I think the audience is very confused. We don't know what happened. We don't understand what happened. We don't understand where you're coming from with this whole situation. So she says that Simon used to make her feel safe. Elijah says financially. Here's the thing, though. The tea on the word on the street, I don't understand how Portia could ever feel safe with Simon. Based off of what we were hearing, based off the things that were coming out, I don't understand how she could feel safe with Simon. I think Portia has spent her life looking for a man to make her feel safe. We've seen that from when she was with Cordell to where she is today. She has been looking for a man to make her feel safe. So I do believe her when she says that. I just find it so interesting the type of men she's decided to make her feel safe with. Especially with Simon, with all the smoke and mirrors that people have to say about his finances. Girl, that's the man you chose to make you feel safe? Really? That's being safe with a gasoline in your fire. I don't get it. That? No, I don't know. So she gets really emotional in regards to that. Kelly talks about the event that she wants to plan, this peace brunch, and she brings up the fact, so how are you and Drew? Portia says that she feels like she can coexist. She can coexist with Drew. She feels like she could be the bigger person. She says this in her confession. She feels like she could be the bigger person. The bigger person, Drew, has been trying to have a conversation with you for the last how many episodes, and you keep refusing to have a conversation with her. And I feel like Portia does have some legitimate issues with Drew in regards to her wanting to film with her baby daddy and then wanting to do a whole photo shoot for Go Naked Hair without the permission of the owner. Those are legitimate excuses to be perturbed with Drew. But you're refusing to have a conversation about it. It's weird. So you guys can move forward. It doesn't feel like it's a big enough issue to be dragging it out. But again, you don't have the storyline that you came in with. So I can understand why you're trying to drag it out. But the audience is not interested. Okay. All right. So Portia says she could be the bigger person. She can coexist with Drew. Coexist? Is the issue between you and Drew that big? So they mention Michael Jordan, and Drew mentions, that's my cousin. She's like, y'all know my maiden name is Jordan. Jordan is not a very unique last name. And I think in Drew's head, because he played for the Chicago Bulls, that he's not from Chicago. I had to look it up. I was like, wait, is he from Chicago? He's not from Chicago. He was born in Brooklyn, was raised in the Carolinas, North Carolina. I'm not saying that it's impossible, not everyone. But I think in Drew's head, very much like my own father, I meant to do a video on this during the election. My grandmother's maiden name is Harris. My Jamaican father texted me. I can't remember what he texted me. I got to look at the text. He was just like, don't make sure you vote for Kamala. That's our cousin. I was like, this is news to me. We're cousins? Because, Kamala was her father's Jamaican. I mean, it's not impossible, but that wasn't in my 23andMe. But I'm like, he's like, that's our cousin. I was like, how? How, Sway? Because I wanted to know. I mean, I was already going to vote for her, but I was like, even more so, like, that's cousin? That's family? That's family, all right. No, he's just like, well, you know what he said? Well, your grandmother's maiden name is Harris. I was like, yeah, a bunch of people got the last name Harris. Don't make us. Like, if it was like my father's last, I'm not giving all of my information, even though y'all can Google it. If it was like my father's last name, then I'd probably like, well, that's a possibility because that's a little bit more unique. But then I was just like, Jamaica says, Kempire, Jamaicans will claim a person. I meant to do a video on this during the election, but then I just forgot. I was just like, okay, we're going to run with that. We're going to get my cousin. All right. Okay, I'm claiming it. So when people ask, yeah, Kempire is related to Kamala Harris. K too. We got the K's going on. Oh. Tamara says, my aunt tells me Garcella's family, and I'm still trying to figure that out. You know us Caribbean folks. I can't. Pageant Mommy said, that is cute for your father, but Drew, well, yeah, Drew is possibly reaching because even Google can't tell me how that is tied together. Okay, so fine. As Foster says, yeah, that's Jamaican. Foster, we see each other on that. And I went to high school with someone with the same last name as mine, but I didn't know if there was any familial connection. I used to work in corporate America with a fellow Jamaican with the same last name, and everyone used to say that we were cousins, but we didn't have any direct relatives that we knew of. All right. Elijah says that Drew is related to Michael Jordan, 15 removed. They're going to revisit that. When is Drew going to be on Watch What Happens Live? We're going to definitely revisit the whole Michael Jordan of it all, and she will come up with some sort of scheme. All right. Let's move on from there. So Kelly with her daughter. This was a heartbreaking scene. I feel for Kelly's daughter because you remember Kelly's daughter does the ex-husband is not the father, but he raised Kelly's daughter since she was like 2 years old, and she literally says to her mom, yeah, he doesn't care about me. He hasn't reached out to me. Ain't that something? Mind you, how old is she? She just turned how old? This man raised her the majority of her life and basically just was done with her. But everything that Kelly has told us about this man, he doesn't sound like a great guy at all. He's threatening her in front of a judge. He's not a great guy. Okay, so they talk about this blog post or this news report that comes out about her divorce, about he's giving out statements and things like that. I'm more focused on how Chloe was reacting to basically being disowned by the only father that she's ever really known. And I felt for her. I thought that was really, really sad. But I have to say, she seemed very, but she's a Taurus. we remember she's a Taurus, her daughter Chloe. We had the birthday party. She's a Taurus. So I'm not surprised that she's able to, in her brain, not take that on or take that personal. But her mom being a Pisces, she's going to, give her, at least check in on her to make sure that she really is okay. But Chloe seems to be very put together. She's sort of like the helps her mother be strong with everything that her mother's going through right now. The situation with Kelly and her ex-husband is really, really interesting and compelling. And when people talk about having a storyline, like she has a very compelling storyline. But I heard that even before the season started, that she had a very compelling storyline. There wasn't a lot being reported about what was going on with her, but I guess there was some report that came out. I kind of remember the article when it came out. It was like one of the very first articles about one of the newbies that came out. So this article comes out, Kelly's reacting to it, and this is when Chloe's like, yeah, he's not checking on me. He's not reaching out for me. But she's like, it is what it is. But I didn't realize that he basically raised her since she was 2 years old. Come on. That was I felt for Chloe. Kelly, keep checking on Chloe, because us Tauruses, we're not going to tell you how we feel. Keep checking in on her, even if she pushes you away. Like, I'm fine, Mom. Keep loving on her. Look, keep loving on her. We need it. Okay. All right. Guys, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions on this week's episode and how you would rate this week's episode. We have 1,234 likes. I love it. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we have almost 4,000 of you watching on YouTube and Facebook. So be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. So we had that scene with Kelly and her daughter, Chloe. She also talks about being scared to get married because she doesn't want to end up like her mom. That's real. And I think I like the fact that she articulated that to her mom so her mom can actually talk her through something like that. Because I think a lot of times we see how our parents have dealt with their relationships, or we see these examples and we have these fears, but we don't articulate those fears in regards to it, in regards to relationship. I have to say, I don't have those fears. But anyway, but again, when you're in a relationship, you never know what might get triggered, right? So she also talks about that. Drew, speaking of relationships and divorce, Drew at home with her kids. Her daughter doesn't want to get her hair done. Could be trying to stall time because she knows this is the 3rd or 5th week where Drew has to leave the house completely, and Ralph is able to come up from the basement and live amongst the living upstairs, okay? Drew's sister Allison was there with her as well. I'm glad that Drew still has her sister, because remember, Drew's sister used to manage her as well. So I feel like Drew's sister is representative, like the mother figure. Where's her mom? Is her mom back in Chicago? We haven't seen her mom at all this season, and we used to see her mom quite often. But her sister's there. Her sister is there to support her. So Ralph randomly comes up, and so she's a little shocked. Because remember, the other thing that Portia said on her YouTube channel, you're welcome, Portia. She said on her YouTube channel, she says she feels as if this whole storyline between Ralph, Drew, and Dennis is all made up. Like they all concocted this storyline together. I wouldn't be surprised, because I get that same energy from Dennis and Ralph, like they're clout chasers. But at this particular point, all these folks that are coming on these shows have ulterior motives. Like they're not just trying to be, they're here to gain some sort of notoriety or fame or whatever it may be. Okay. So Ralph surprises Drew when he comes up. Surprises. Okay. So she's a little shocked by him coming up, because she's just like, I'm about to leave, but she says that he never comes up like that until he knows that she's filming and he wants to be on camera. And then he has his confessional with his sprayed on hair. The suit's nice. The sprayed on hair. Like, Ralph, what are you doing? He's such a weirdo. Ralph is such a weirdo. I don't get him. I don't understand him. I don't care to understand him. I don't know. He must be working for the court to say he has to pay all the bills. He must be working. And the fact that he makes more money than Drew. Remember, Drew has not only this show, she's been in multiple movies the last couple of years. So she's been bringing in income. So I found it, maybe he has more steady income. I don't know. We still don't know what he does for a living. I mean, we kind of do, but okay, Tommy. So he comes up because, he's never seen a camera he doesn't like. So he comes up to have an appearance. She pulls him to the side while the kids go off and play and says that the exterminator, she needs him to schedule the exterminator and pay for it. And she says, according to the courts, that's your responsibility. And he's just like, you can't pay for it. Mind you, he was like, no, that's not true. And then when she was like, well, no, according to my attorney, you're supposed to pay for that. And then he was like, what, you can't pay for that? He didn't say it like that, but that's basically what he's saying. So for me, it's sort of like, okay, Ralph, so either you're lying and you knew you had to pay for this and you just want her to pay for something. And she's like, at least that just takes something off of my plate. He's like, what's on your plate? You don't pay any of the bills here. So apparently he's paying all the bills, the mortgage, the electric bill, the exterminator bill, all that stuff. He's just like, you can't pay $100 exterminator fee. Again, she shouldn't have to pay for it if the courts say that you're supposed to. So I don't blame her. Like, no, you pay for it. You pay for it. So she gets frustrated with him and she disengages in the conversation and she ends up leaving. And she has an emotional moment in the car. She's just like, he's always triggering her, gaslighting her. And all of that can be true. I just don't know if I believe Drew's story 100%. And it's not because of what Portia said on her YouTube channel. Because I kind of heard stuff before they even started filming about Drew and Ralph's relationship that make me kind of go, is this real? Is it real? Or is this just a storyline? I don't know. We'll see. Look, we'll see when they finally get a divorce. We shall see. Because even with Drew lying... Drew's lying, and word on the street, and I've heard this from sources, that even production doesn't believe Drew's lies. Just saying. Even production doesn't believe Drew's lies. I don't know why they decided to bring her back. Maybe they just wanted to kind of keep a connection to last season, and they wanted to continue to follow this story and give a resolution to the story. I don't know. But yeah, that's the word on the street. Even production don't believe her lies. All right, Queen Bee, thank you so much for the super chat. Queen Bee says, even if Britt was 18 or 19, Kenya put herself in a bad position. The teen just makes it icky, but Britt can also claim she was underage for revenge. Yeah, agreed. Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Keith says, something about this season seems really off. We're on episode 6, but I feel like we're on episode 2. And Kemp, you're hot flashing. ? No, I just said, well, no. I have hot flashed before, but not because I'm going through anything. But I'm telling you, like, ever since I was like in my 20s, I haven't had it in a long time. But I felt like I would have like little rushes of heat. So I was sort of like, I don't see it being a big deal. But I do think that Angela's premenopausal, but it's fine. It's all right, Angela. Shan, thank you so much for that. Shan says, Portia has some nerve. The way she beat up people in alleyways. Girl, please, for real. RC, thank you so much for the super chat. RC says, it was very clear what broke them up. When the feds put everything in the news about all the allegations, Portia filed the very next day. Even though she said, according to sources, that it had nothing to do with that. But remember, a lot of this information was already out there in these streets. Miss Shay, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss Shay says she has daddy issues. Remember, her and Lauren talked about it a few years back. I mean, that's very clear in regards to Portia. Toya, thank you so much for the super chat. Toya says, I feel like both Drew and Ralph trigger each other. Drew was petty for bringing up that exterminator bill. Was it petty? I don't know. I don't know if I would consider that petty, because if the court says that you're supposed to pay something, pay it. I mean, she could have paid it too, and just. But then again, like, if you start going against what you're supposed to be doing in this court order, it's a bad precedent to set. So it's better for her to be like, no, again, because we have to think about why he's paying all the bills. She's probably claiming he makes more money than I do. So I can't start paying this bill because he can bring it up. Well, she's able to pay this bill. Why can't she pay this other bill? So I can see legally why she wouldn't want to do that. Fine. T says they both try to one up each other. Yeah. All right. Let's move on because I'm already tired of talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta. And it's like an hour and 20 minutes in. All right, let's get to Shamia in the studio with Angela and Drew. So Shamia, as she's mentioned, is working on music with RL. She's very good friends with RL's wife. Haven't RL and his wife been considered for Real Housewives of Atlanta? There's so many people in Atlanta that's been considered for the show. I can't keep up with everyone. So she's been friends with them for a very long time. So they're in the studio working on new music. RL has written songs for other people before. Outside of him also being a musician and an artist, he's also written songs for people before. And as you know, Shamia has this new song out. So they're talking about that, but she's also recording other songs with him. So they played another song during this scene. So Angela, I have to say, I like the fact that Angela and Shamia have been able to move on. They're both Taurus women, so I could definitely see them getting along. And Angela says, I want to apologize. I saw your frustration with Portia and Portia's reaction, acting as if she doesn't know who was singing. And Shamia says that Portia claimed that she really didn't know that it was Shamia on the song. She says that a lot of times she prioritizes Portia's feelings over hers. Okay? And if you follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky, I said this on those platforms that now it makes sense to me why Shamia is just getting her peach. Why Shamia has been in two groups and she's never had like her big moment in music. Because she talks about not only does she do this with Portia about downplaying herself and prioritizing and being a people pleaser for other people. For me, I was like, so that's why you just got your peach. That's why you never really had a huge career in music as a solo artist. And it's because she is downplaying her own greatness. And it's clear that Shamia can sing. Shamia is a great friend. Shamia is fun. A lot of people are seeing that. But I said this on Twitter. I said, Shamia will never, ever have that moment of, yes, this is my moment, if she continues to be this people pleaser, if she continues to downplay herself, because she's spent years, she's 40-something years old or 40 years old, and she's been doing this for how long? She's got to get out of that habit. She's got to really own her own greatness because she definitely has a great voice. I'm getting a little tired though of two singers on this cast, and we're promoting music and we're in the studio and we're talking about. I'm like, okay, we get it. You guys want to be singers. This is the whole reason why you're on the show, so you can launch your music career. I'm like, oh God, I really don't care. I'm just like, but Shamia does have a lot more other stuff going on. But I'm just like, okay. So she talks about that. She admits that she does that, but she was frustrated with Portia and Portia acting like she. Because my thing is, why would you act like that was Drew? And even Drew was like, I don't know why she would think that y'all don't sound alike. Or even if you did, why would you play Drew's song? Unless you wrote it, but you didn't. Okay, it was you. And the fact that Portia did that was weird. So they talk about that, but here's the thing, Shamia. I don't understand why you had to take those shady digs. I know people are like, it's Housewives. But it was like weird. Like you and Drew are not in a bad place. So to take, she's like, she starts singing her song, God, during her confessional. And the way they edited it, it was like she sang the entire song. So they had to edit it down. I was like, okay. And then she's like, I don't know why people think that's Drew. Drew can't hit those notes. Come on now. It's different if we were talking about a Kim Zolciak. Drew can sing. Sing. Okay? So taking the shade at Drew, like, Drew can't hit those notes. Okay. All right, fine. You're just trying to be funny, trying to have a moment. It'd be different if the person really couldn't hit those notes. But Drew can hit those notes. And Drew has a fire album. And now we're going to have to compare your album when you put yours out. We're going to be like, can she hit those? No. Shamia can sing. Clearly can sing. She sings way better than Portia. That's probably why Portia hates her so much. Y'all saw that video of them singing in the car. Shamia and Portia. And Portia's, doing the leads, and Shamia, downplaying herself again, is doing the ad libs in the backgrounds. And Portia's just sounding real horrible. It's funny because it's true. And Jesus Baby Girls on TikTok says, Kempire, you were going to be blocked. She knew by unblocking me it was not going to be, I'm going to be Team Portia all season. Or maybe she did think that. Okay. Jacqueline says that Portia is a hater. I mean, look. Anyway, all right. So we have that moment of them in the studio, Shamia playing her music. Fine. Fantastic. I will listen to it because Shamia can sing. When it comes out, I will listen to it. She mentions that she was in a band with Carrie Hilson. All right. I'm actually looking forward to Carrie Hilson's project. She played a couple of songs on social media, and then I had to go back and listen to her In a Perfect World debut album. And I was like, this album really has no skips. Shout out to Carrie Hilson. Carrie Hilson is that girl. Can write her song, can sing. She's got some hits. All right. So I'm looking forward to that project coming out. All right. So Britt at home with her mother. So her mother has been very supportive with all this stuff. She said surprisingly supportive. I don't know why she'd be surprised, but again, their family dynamic is interesting. So she said her mom has been surprisingly supportive since the Kenya incident. So they talk about it. She says that even her sister, who she's been estranged from, has reached out and says that she has her back. So she feels good that her family is supporting her during this time. So Britt gets really emotional talking about what happened with Kenya. Her mom's like, you know how women can be. They can be catty. Da da da. I don't remember if she used those words, but that's what she was insinuating. And then she says she's crying. She's like, I've been dealing with this my entire life. So she says that people have been hating on her entire life. Britt, I think you're trying to say like people hate on you because you're a beautiful girl, a beautiful woman. Girl, they might be hating on you for something else. I just can't imagine this is not the first time she said this. I don't think people are hating on you, Britt, just because you're a good looking person. Okay? I don't, it might be other things, because especially when we get to the Peace Brunch and the way you react to Angela, they might be hating on you because of your personality. Dare I say, they're hating on you because of your personality. All right. Exactly. And Angel says, justice for Carrie. Glad she got vindicated. Yeah, we talked about that this week, guys. Be sure to check that out. Good girl says, spare us, Britt. Remember, though, this is not the first time she said that. People have hated on me my entire life. Girls do this, that. I'm like, girl, I don't think they're doing that because you're pretty. Okay? It's so interesting, though, to watch Britt this week versus the Britt we saw when it was first announced that she was going to be on the show, and this energy that she was giving in like these little video clips that she was posting. And I was just like, and for me, I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting one to watch. And again, we're watching an edited show, and maybe she is far more interesting than the edit is giving her. But the energy that we saw of Britt on social media versus what we're getting on the show is so different. And not in a good way. Gigi says, it's Britt. Hi, she's the problem. It's Britt. Wait, where's my soundbite for that? Hold on. I haven't played that in a hot second. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Britt, you might be the problem, girl. You're the common denominator. You are the common denominator in this group. You're not getting along with the majority of the women on this cast. So Britt mom says that Kenya was Miss USA and she's supposed to be motivating young girls. I can't even argue with her mom. Like, Kenya, you have a history of being in positions to know better. And look, some people have said, well, Kenya has shown that she isn't a girl's girl throughout the years. And you're all right. However, this really was just too far. Too far. Like, to the point where, like, you can't come back. And some people might say, because they didn't check it before, it was inevitable that Kenya would get to this place. I honestly, I didn't see this happening. I felt like we had reached an arc with Kenya, especially when it comes to her being a mom. She got married, got divorced. I felt like we were getting away from the Kenya villain narrative and into a different Kenya, especially in like her last season. It was very different. And she was happy about that. So, I don't know. Again, she did it herself. She did it to herself. Can't be mad at anyone but yourself when it comes to this. So we had that scene with Britt and her mom. She was very upset and emotional, understandably, because no one would want to be exposed in that way at a public event. All right. Portia and Shamia hang out. They go miniature golfing. Okay. So Shamia says she's not going to bring up her frustrations or her issues with Portia because she's like, Portia's going through a lot right now. Here she goes people pleasing again. Okay. So she says that she's not going to bring it up. All right. They end up talking about, getting, because Portia's just like, now that I'm 40 and I'm getting up and things are hurting. Like, I understand Portia. And then they talk about Angela and her fan who's like, oh, at least we don't have that. And then they were talking about how Kelly calls Angela Netta because of how she says Charles. Now I can't unsee it. If you Google Netta and Charles, and then you will understand why Kelly is calling Angela Netta. Okay, so I thought that was hilarious. All right. Wait, rewind time. Let me go back to the studio with Shamia and Drew, because I thought this was funny with Drew, because Drew was like, the way that this whole the royalties are set up from this project is going to be real good for Pilar, PJ. And Shamia was just like, I think her college fund is fine in regards to PJ and what's going on with PJ. And she's like, well, maybe it'll be good for some snacks. Okay. This is why with Drew, sometimes I'm like, these moments are funny with Drew. Like, she understands the assignment for certain things. Because there's this level of delusion and foolery with Drew that can be funny. Okay? Because when she says the way that these royalties are set up, girl, they're royalties in music, but you have to have a smash hit for that to set Pilar up for her college fund. And I love your project, Drew, but the royalties from this might be decent. I'm not going to say they're not going to be bad. But, okay. Music doesn't make money like that anymore. Unless you have like a massive hit. And right now, Drew, Elijah says that Drew was a mess for that. It made me laugh, though, when she was like, when Shamia being a good friend to Portia was like, I don't think they need to worry about Pilar's college fund. Well, she's like, might be some good for some snacks or something. Literally, that's what it will be good for. Snacks. Okay? I thought it was funny, though. Even my second time watching it, I was like, that was funny. Elijah says, not Netta and Charles getting mentioned on RHOA. Don't tell them. Please don't tell them. Because you already know they're delusional in regards to how famous they are. But I'm sure they already know, because somebody already told them, y'all were mentioned on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now they're gonna pretend like they're arriving somewhere and hit play on the the crowd applause. Let's give it to them. Come on. Give it to them. Woo! Netta and Charles. Okay. Exactly. Duchess says, you need a Mariah Carey Christmas-sized hit in order for you to be... And even that is like, come on. Okay. Ariana says, messy, but very funny. It was funny. It was definitely messy. But I can appreciate Shamia being there for her friend. So Shamia being there for Portia, they're hanging out. She said it's been a while since they've been able to hang out just one-on-one. So they talk about Angela and her fan and her being Netta. Then Shamia asks Portia about what's going on with Drew and Dennis. And Portia says that Dennis says that he won't film with her. And then they show 8 days later that he ends up filming with Drew at the studio. And Dennis claims that Drew wanted him to film, but he didn't. All right. Dennis, though, in the conversation with Portia, he says to her he wants her to to say that she doesn't want him filming with Drew. It's like, I think for Dennis, if Portia wanted him back, I think they would be back together. I think he's waiting on Portia. I wouldn't be surprised if they, every once in a while. There's still a little bit of a flirtation between Dennis and Portia. Do you want to see Dennis and Portia get back together? No. I don't want to see them get back together because I feel like Dennis is a fool. I don't want to see them get back together. Like, she's not going to feel safe with Dennis. Because that's what she's achieving. I think he's also very immature. She likes to be the immature one. I think she's grateful probably to have had a child with him because he seems like he's definitely a good father. But I don't think they would be good in a relationship. But okay. So Dennis apparently wants her to admit that she doesn't want him filming with Drew, but he does end up filming with Drew despite denying it. Okay. Then Shamia asks, because Portia's asking about the update in regards to the IVF that Shamia was going through, and Shamia brings up that. So what about you and Simon? Because he's, sending cease and desist and everything like that right now. Is he sending a cease and desist in regards to the embryo that you guys have together? I was like, first of all, your friends just randomly bringing that up on camera. So I feel like they had to have a conversation about that before she brought that up on camera. Right? You don't just bring up someone's embryo on camera. Okay? So that's when we discovered that Portia and Simon have an embryo. I don't do anything with it. Please don't do anything with it. I mean, I could see Portia wanting to have more kids, though. You think that she still will? Here's the thing, though. With Kenya's situation, Kenya also has more embryos with Mark's DNA. And legally, she could do whatever she wants with that. She can get a surrogate and because she has ownership of those embryos. He signed off the rights to that. I don't know what the situation is with Portia and Simon, but even if the situation with Simon, where she's able to control that, Portia, don't do that. You will forever have a connection to that man. Don't do that. Don't do it. Okay? You don't want to. Ariana says, I audibly gasp at the embryo conversation. Pageant Mommy says, if Portia did that to Shamia, y'all would be calling her all kinds of names. This is why I bring it up, because I felt like that was either they had a conversation about that beforehand, especially because we didn't see Portia have a reaction like, girl, why are you bringing that up on camera? It seemed like she was okay with it. But I do feel like, are we supposed to be bringing up your embryo on camera? But okay. All right, before we move on, before we get to the peace brunch, before I move on from that. So Portia talks about Simon's social media behavior. She says that he knows what went wrong between them, yet we don't. We're confused still to this day. And then she says that the reason why he wants to remain at war is because he wants to be a star. He's always wanted to be a star, Portia. We could have told you that before you married the man. But I guess you were okay with it because you thought you were going to have a certain type of life. That's probably why you decided to return to Real Housewives of Atlanta, because he was okay with it. He was ready for those cameras to start rolling again. He's also wanted to be a star. He likes being recognized. He likes that people know who he is. But okay. Let me drop the call link for our members. Live chat, keep liking the video, even those of you that are not members, because quite a few, we don't have 4,000 members, do we? No, we got close. But I know the people that are watching aren't all members, because the live chat is not going, okay? But shout out to all our members. Become a member today at TheKempire.com/join. I am going to drop the call in link for our members on the community tab. And don't forget, guys, we will be recapping the Real Housewives of Atlanta on Wednesday afternoon, so stay tuned for that. Okay. And don't forget, you can also hear an audio version of our live recaps on the Kempire podcast. All right, so subscribe today to that. Let me just drop this here. All right. And don't forget to join our Club Kempire membership on Apple Podcasts so you can hear my live recaps of, well, not live recaps. Well, one was a live recap of The White Lotus. Okay. All right. Yeah, guys, we're almost at 1,500 likes. Tish, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. She says, Shamia needs to be careful inviting Drew to the studio. Next thing she knows, Drew will be trying to work with RL behind her back. Next thing you know, I'm sure she got RL's information. Without a doubt. Or the other producers, B Flat. SB, thank you so much for the super chat. SB said, or she probably hit them up on social media. SB says, Ming Lee, Drew, Tai Young, thoughts. I wonder if that's why production decided not to move forward with Ming Lee, because of the crossover with Tai Young and what happened last season with Tai Young and Drew, or what didn't happen. I don't really have any thoughts because I don't know if this situation with Tai Young is real for either one, for Drew or Ming Lee. Remember, Tai Young was with Mimi for a long time. They were engaged. And apparently there might have been a little bit of an overlap with the whole Drew of it all and Mimi. So, Sarita, thank you so much for the super chat. Sarita says, Shamia coming for Drew because of her friendship with Portia. Too bad Portia will never do the same for her. Yeah. All right, let's talk about this peace brunch. So Kelly hosts this peace brunch, and I look, they were outside. Again, remember, this is in the summer in Georgia, but they seemed to be okay. They didn't seem like they were like sweating. The only one that was sweating was Angela. So she hosts this peace brunch. Portia calls and says, I'm not going to be able to make it. Portia's voice was giving, I'm faking it. Like, I'm calling in to the job and I won't be coming into work. That's what it was giving. Again, she does have a young daughter that's in school. Shout out to the parents. It is very easy for parents to get sick when you have young children. Okay. So that's not shocking, but that's also an easy excuse to use. And why would Portia not want to film that day? I don't know. But the voice that she was giving just saying. Hold on. Sata says, Kempire, can you please open the chat on YouTube and put the link for joining the membership? Mods, we could put the link, but you can just go, Sata, to teamkempire.com/join or click the join button if you're a subscriber on the channel. All that, or go into the description. There's links there as well. All right. Gigi says the location of the table were so pretty. It was pretty. It was definitely pretty, but I don't know if I would want to be outside in the summer on filming, because there's also the lights and okay, but they looked fine. So Portia calls Kelly and tells her that she's not arriving. But Kelly, I didn't understand something. Were the ladies just very late? Kelly's sitting there with her hands in food at the table where everyone's going to be eating, and I'm just seeing her like eating. Like, why are we not, greeting the folks? Why are we sitting there with our hands greasy in food as our guests are arriving? I didn't like that. Am I too particular? Maybe. I just thought that was like, are we hosting an event or are we just coming over to eat? I don't know. Fine. All right. So the other ladies arrive. Shamia arrives. Angela arrives, along with, was it Polly and Esther? Polyester. So they end up, Kelly gives an update on what's going on with her, and she was talking about how her ex owes $10,000 in child support. Britt ends up arriving after that, and there's an energy with Britt, and she's a little upset when Kelly brings up the fact that the other ladies had checked in on Kenya. And she was sort of like, why did you guys check in on Kenya after what she did? Well, here's the thing. We have to keep in mind, a lot of these women don't know each other. Drew has known Kenya a lot longer than the other lady, so I can understand her checking in on Kenya. But I think what Britt is expecting from people that aren't her deep friends is she's expecting just loyalty off the bat. And I don't know if they checked in on her. I could understand her being upset with them if they didn't even check in on her. But it seemed as if they checked in on both of them. But she didn't want them to check in on Kenya because of what Kenya did. Well, yes, what Kenya did was wrong. But it doesn't mean they can't check up on her. They might be concerned. If you're a real friend, I'm a little concerned, lady. Well, you done lost your mind. Like, I need to check up on you just to be, especially because the word on the street is that you might not be returning. So I need to check up on you. But Britt was really upset about that. And then Shamia brings up the fact that Britt had told her, probably a scene that they filmed and they never showed, that she had lost her insurance license. So Angela says to her, she was like how? So Britt gets really angry. I was like, because honestly, I felt like Angela was coming from a genuine place. Like, girl, like, why would they do that? I felt like Angela was going to be like, well, no, they can't do that. Like, she was going to be helpful, but Britt ended up giving her this energy of just like, what do you mean? And my thing is, what I like about Angela, because Angela's like, you ain't gonna bulldoze over me, bull. Look, Taurus, you ain't gonna bulldoze over me. I said what I said. Like, why are you coming at me like that? I'm asking, like, what grounds did they have to suspend your license? What grounds? For me, that's a legitimate question, but this goes back to the legitimate question that Kenya asked at Shamia's birthday party. Oh, you're married, or is that just an engagement? There was no wedding band. And again, typically you see a lot of, if you're going to have an engagement ring, you usually see a wedding band. It's a simple question, but for you to make that an issue episode after episode, I wouldn't be surprised if she makes that an issue with Angela these next few episodes. The energy was weird. Like the way she was like as Angela said, barking at her like what? And Angela was just like, well, I am a a loan something originator. So she understands. She was like, what grounds? And for me, I felt like Angela was coming from a place like, well, they can't do that to you. But she took it as Angela questioning her. So for me, it was sort of like, wait, I think you're lying. So it gets really heated between them, and Kelly, separates them because they probably don't want it to turn into what it's been turning into with these ladies, more specifically with Britt. We didn't want to hear anything about whips and pistols again. So it turns out that she didn't lose her license, that she's under investigation. I don't believe she was under investigation. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, this is not, I'm team this one or that one. I just don't believe Angela. I don't believe Britt. I believe that she's just making this a bigger issue than it actually was, probably because of the conversation she was having behind the scenes with production and the network and securing her spot on here and making sure that Kenya doesn't return. Like, this jeopardized my job. This jeopardized my license. So I don't believe that, because even Angela says they're investigating you or they suspended your insurance license because of a rumor. The likelihood of that. Again, you have to remember, this rumor at this particular point is 2 days later. Now you're under investigation? Are you sure it's because of that and not something else? But again, I don't believe that anything was happening like that. I don't believe anything was happening like that. And we've seen, even on Watch What Happens Live, we've seen examples of Britt not telling the truth. I'm going to just say it like that. Even the threats that she made to Kenya, she's like, those weren't threats. Oh, then what were they? Promises? Those weren't threats. Okay, girl. Duchess says Britt and Angela were arguing. Shamia just wanted a drink. Shamia she's like, I came here being the peacemaker, and I just came here for a meal. True Taurus. That was a true Taurus energy. So they get up and they start dancing. Like, I know. How do we get there? I don't know. If you had to rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, how would you rate it? Those ratings are going to drop this week. If they go up, I would be shocked. But I feel like those ratings for this week are going to drop. You're going to see a series low in demo and ratings. And shout out to those of you that end up just watching my recap. I appreciate it, but I have to end up watching this damn show. But have I been entertained? No. But I'm going to keep watching for now. No promise. We're on episode 6. I told you in the beginning, I'm like, all right, I'm going to keep an open mind. We're on episode 6. We're halfway through the season. Well, maybe almost halfway through the season. So we should be getting a mid-season trailer soon. And I'm sure that mid-season trailer is going to include Phaedra arriving like, ooh, I'm back. And lying through her teeth. How many liars we got on this damn cast? That's way too many liars in one building. We've got Drew. We've got Portia. We've got Britt. Now we got Phaedra. That's a lot of liars. Damn. Pageant Bobby says, well, what else is there to watch? Plenty. There's plenty of things to watch. Shout out to my fellow content creators creating content here on YouTube. There's plenty of things to hear on YouTube to watch. All right. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy. It's free. All right. Nikki says, Kemp, I'm sorry. I love you. Where's my... hold on. If I can find it. Asawi, I love you. Oh, I haven't used that in such a long time. Won't miss it. Won't miss that show. All right. Let me say thank you. We had another super chat. Maloney Love, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Maloney says, Britt reminds me of Kenya. You're not the first person to say that. This is how Kenya acted in the earlier seasons. It's giving Kenya met Kenya. You think? I mean, I might have to go back and watch these earlier seasons because even if that is somewhat true, at least Kenya was entertaining back then. I don't feel like Britt's entertaining. I'm trying to see a redeeming quality. But all right. All right. Oh, you know, I've been meaning to watch this show. RC says Morris Chestnut on CBS's Watson. Let me see. All right. We're almost at 2,000 likes, guys. Don't forget to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting the channel. All right. Members, you're getting 30 seconds. The opinions of the members do not represent the opinions of myself, TheKempire LLC, or our sponsors. We're going to get their quick thoughts. I will drop the call-in link once we get to 2,000 likes for the live chat. But members, we have quite a few members. There's already a full backstage. But for those that keep asking about my skincare routine, be sure to check out the description on how you can get 10% off our friends over at Buttah. Welcome back to the Kempire channel. We're going to get into these callers. Let me put up my little disclaimer. Did I cover everything that I wanted to cover? I did. I don't care anymore. I have to say, I can't. Where's Real Housewives of Miami? Bravo, NBC Universal. Where's Real Housewives of Miami? We're ready. We're ready. We need something to break up this monotony of some of these shows. All right, let me put up my disclaimer. All right, there we go. All right, again, everyone that is waiting behind the scenes, please drop out once you share your opinions. Please respect the timer. Please also do not use profanity or derogatory comments. All right, let's do that. Oh, wait, let me say thank you. Noda Queen, thank you for the super chat. Noda Queen says, this season was always doomed with Kenya's ghost looming over it. Damn. Damn. Say it like that. Nelly, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Nelly says, we watched the show, and I know that a lot of people do not like Kenya more. Looks like Britt made it her mission to get rid of Kenya, and Kenya unfortunately fell for it because of her ego. Nelly, you might have a point. You might. I mean, it seems it definitely seems that is her mission to keep Kenya off the show now after this incident. So, and Kenya gave her the ammo. All right. The ammo for the pistol, Lord. All right, let's bring up Elijah. Elijah is first. Elijah, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? I can hear you.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can you hear me? 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 Can you
Uh-oh. Elijah, drop out and I'll bring you back up. Maybe something happened while you were waiting. All right, let's bring up Toya next. Toya, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say I love that Angela made it clear that Britt did not lose her license yet, and made her kind of specify she was under investigation, which we don't really believe. But I do have a question. What is Portia talking about her family with Dennis? Is she talking about I'm sorry, not Dennis, Simon. Is she talking about Simon's family? Like, does she like Simon's family and want to continue to, be around them and stuff? But like, girl, you gotta cut that off. Y'all are divorced. Like, I don't know. What was she talking about? It was weird.
I'm always confused with Portia when she talks about Simon, but I think that's what she was referring to. You remember Simon has like 5 kids too. So I'm sure they were around. And look, things happen, but you were only together for what, 3 years, maybe 2-3 years. So she'll be strong.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Kempire. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Let's try Elijah again. Hold on, Elijah. Elijah, are you there?
Hey, Kempire, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
So I wanted to say first, I'm living for Angela. I'm living for Angela. I think she's perfect for the show. And people who say she's boring, I'm like, Angela, get behind me, okay? Because I don't think that she's boring. I think that she brings a unique energy, and she does remind me like of a charade. That if you push her too much, she'll give you what you're asking for, And I like how she clocked Britt's tea all the way, because to me, I don't understand all this vitriol she has and all this, like, she wants everybody to be behind her. You're not a star of this show, and you don't even bring much. All you bring is teeth and whips. And so my thing is you're not doing anything. What do you want from them? And then why would she get mad at Drew for checking on Kenya, who she's known for years? So yeah, I want her off.
Thanks, Elijah. Yeah. Okay, let me just move on. Taurus with the T. What's going on?
Hey, Kempire, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Tanya, but this is going to be my alias from now on, just in case.
I like it.
But, okay, I enjoyed the episode for today. I agree with Elijah about Angela. It's Taurus season coming up very soon. Please don't play with us. We may be quiet, we may be reserved, but once we clock in, we're like Cynthia. We got it for you. Portia and Drew is giving very forced. I still don't believe that Drew and Ralph are getting divorced, and the way how they're playing it out on camera, it's affecting the kids. I don't like it. Something else could be done that can protect the mental health of the kids. And then Britt, honestly, you are Kenya back in season 5. The only difference is that you're trying to compete against someone, like you said, takes it to hell. So I'll keep watching. Thanks, Kempire.
Thanks, Taurus with the T, Tanya. Born to Win is backstage. We're going to bring Born to Win up next. Born to Win, what did you want to share? Uh-oh. Wait, hold on, Born to Win. There we go. Born to Win.
Hi.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good. So real quick, first of all, Kenya is very intelligent, and I'm sorry, no shade to Britt. So she's no Kenya from back in the day. Kenya came on, she's intellect is way beyond anything. So no, she's that Britt and her, no comparison there. And honestly, I do think production knew that was going to go down last episode in regards to like the whole revealing of that. It was just too calculated with the way that Britt knew exactly when to leave and when that revealing was happening. Everything just happened it was just too, like, it coincided too much for me. Like, if you really pay attention to it, it was like, go. She came in, you leave, and then the reveal happened. Yeah. And then she happened to just be outside.
The timer just went off. But
I'm sorry. But
okay.
I just wanted to clock that. But yes, I'm sorry, guys.
No problem.
Right,
thanks, Born to Win. Bye. I'm trying to make sure we get to everyone. Janelle's backstage. We're going to bring Janelle up next. Janelle, what's going on?
Bonjour, Kempire. How are you, darling?
I'm well. How are you?
You are now awake. You're welcome. So I want to speak very quickly. Okay, so my dad's an insurance agent, and for State Farm in particular. But in the state of Florida. So I want to preface that before I say anything. In the state of Florida, each state has its own laws when it comes to insurance licenses and stuff like that. So I don't think Britt lost her license. If she's an independent insurance broker, that means she's working with smaller companies and trying to set up like different insurance policies. They may not want to work with her. But it takes a lot to lose your license. Like, you literally have to be stealing money from customers, committing fraud, embezzlement, have a conviction like a DUI or whatever. Like, you have to do a lot in order to lose your license, especially in states like Florida and possibly like Georgia. And also, I just don't think, based off what my dad has told me about the insurance industry, you have to do a lot to lose that license.
Yeah.
And I used to work in his office, and like, they do credit checks, they do background checks, they do a lot of things to make sure that you are a good person in good standing before they even decide to work with you. And also, like, the things on social media, like, they're very particular about what you post on social media on top of that. Like, my dad can't post much things on social media simply because State Farm will have an issue with it. And if this happened 48 hours, how would they have found out? That's my question. So, like, because and also, if Britt was with like a larger company like a State Farm, Nationwide, Allstate, she would not be on the show. They wouldn't allow it. Because they're not going to have a connection to a reality show. I don't think people realize, like, a lot of these companies, some of them, not all of them, come from red states. They have very conservative values. They're not going to just attach their name to just anybody. Like, they're picky with people who they choose as their
customers.
As their customers. Oh my, don't get me started on that. They're very picky about people who, like, they have for endorsements. Like, they have to go through background checks. Like, yes, everyone loves Patrick Mahomes, but he didn't just get that State Farm deal like just like nothing. Like, they did a full-blown background check on him before they decide, okay, you're going to be one of our spokespeople. So I think Britt is lying, but that's just me. That's my personal opinion.
No, I'm glad you called. That's why I turned the timer off, because I wanted you to get the perspective, because I don't have that experience, but you bring up a lot of valid points, Janelle. Was there anything else before we let you go?
I don't think, is there anything else I can fill you in on insurance wise? Or I think that may be it, because I don't want to be redundant.
Thank you, Janelle. We appreciate it.
No, I think that's it. You really have to do a lot. I just know that for Florida, and Florida has some strict insurance laws. So I'm assuming Georgia's the same, even though they don't have to deal with like as many like natural disasters as Florida does. So there's different realms to it. But
and she did say at the Peace Brunch that they were investigating her. And then on Watch What Happens Live, she said that she didn't lose it.
Well, you know what? If they are investigating her, then she did something else. If they're truly, because
48 hours later, we have Angela saying that they're investigating you over a rumor.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is because I personally did not see any social media footage from the whole presentation when it first happened. So which made me believe like Bravo, before people left the venue, made sure that, you cannot post this, delete this from your phone, whatever, don't post anything of this nature. So if she is being investigated by them, either she's lying or she did something else.
I don't believe she's being investigated at all.
No. But if she was, that means she did something else that they saw. And they're like, oh, and because that means someone went and complained about her by assuming that she's an independent insurance broker. A customer was like, oh, this is not good. And they went and reported it to the entity that handles insurance, like government-wise.
Team Twirl?
Huh?
Team Twirl?
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but I don't believe her. I don't believe her in regards to her being investigation.
I think she is taking advantage of the fact that people are ignorant about what happens insurance-wise. Most people just pay for it and keep it moving. For me, as someone who, like, my dad's an insurance agent, and he's been one for longer than I've been alive. Whoa. And I've worked in his office. So I know what you have to do. You really have to be, like, a really horrible criminal to lose your license to sell insurance.
Wow.
And also, I'm curious what type of insurance she sells, because if you sell more than just car and home, then you're doing something. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to go so other people can chat.
Thanks, Janelle.
Yes. Bye.
All right. Everyone else, you're not getting that much time. She was giving us valuable information. Okay. All right. We have Tyler backstage. We'll bring Tyler up next. Tyler, what did you want to share?
So I just want to say this, Kempire, she was not under investigation, because why would they investigate her? When the stories first came out, everything was pointing towards her being the victim. Everything about that story. We didn't even know anything about the guns or anything until Kenya came back a week later fighting the story, saying she mentioned the gun. So she's lying. Everything was pointing towards her favor. Everybody was mad at Kenya. Last but not least, I can tell that Kenya did not play it right, because it shows that Bravo
may have ceased filming with Kenya for liability, but everything is aiming for them to help. Everything was aiming for them to bring her back. You can show because you can tell how they were aiming the story and everything. Kenya should have just kept quiet because Brittany is not reading well. That's all.
Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, I mean, you definitely could, and I think that was Britt's concern. Based off of Britt's actions, I think her concern was that there was potential for Kenya to return, and that's why we see in this episode her constantly bringing up just certain keywords that she was bringing up, emphasizing like this is affecting her work. This is, she's distraught about like there are certain things that she's bringing up. And I'm like, oh, she's really trying to make sure that Kenya does not return. All right. Let me bring up Miss Bernice. Miss Bernice, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how you doing?
Oh,
what up, to everybody? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Brittany is the classic. I grew up with girls like Brittany, who mother praises them for doing the bare minimum. And she's the apple of her mother's eye, like you saw in the scene. Oh, it's everybody else's fault. It's never yours. And I believe that she expects everybody to grovel at her feet. And when they don't, she got a problem. And she's such a fan of Kenya that she thought that Kenya was supposed to bow down to her. And like, no, baby, I'm not. And she's trying to secure her bag for next season. Have a good one.
You too, Ms. Bernice. All right. Let me get to the rest of these calls. Live chat, I am going to drop the call link for you guys. Let me do that right now because we're almost at almost 2,000 likes. Hold on 1 second. Live chat. There we go. Let me say thank you. We had another super chat from Queen B. Thank you so much. Queen B says, thank you for being a member. Queen B says, Britt reminds me of Kenya because she is a fan. Telling Angela to twirl out. She studied Kenya and came prepped. Maybe she sent the pics. Joke or am I? Oh, I don't know. I mean, at this particular point, anyone that's being on reality television is a fan. It's hard not to say you haven't seen reality television or Housewives. Not to say that people watch it. Some people do, some people don't. Some people haven't. Some people are just getting into it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Just Bethany, for so many gifts. We appreciate you. Shout out to everyone watching on TikTok as well. Those of you watching on Twitch and Twitter and Facebook. Let's get into the rest of these callers. We have O'Shea backstage. O'Shea, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
I just want to say, the part where you said that, you thought Kenya had grown out of her villain era. I never thought that because, at the end of the day, who you are is who you are. And there's no way to change that. Like, the cookie lady thing wasn't that long ago, in honesty. And it's a good thing that she left before Phaedra came because she may have just threatened Phaedra with the gun first again.
Oh, damn.
So that is my 2 cents on the matter. But thanks, goodbye.
Thanks, O'Shea. Bye. Again, when she didn't threaten Phaedra with the pow pow pow, y'all. She did it in another scene with Brandon. Kenya, are you and Brandon still friends? How come Brandon? I haven't seen Brandon come to Atlanta or film with you in such a long time. I know he's in California, or at least he was. I don't know. But all right. Let's bring up Winter next. Winter, what did you want to share?
Hello.
There we go.
Hi. Okay, so this season, I'm just like, it's true. We have a bunch of liars. Like I'm watching the scenes and I'm like, I don't know who we can trust. Everyone's a liar. But with this little lunch that Kelly hosted, the first thing I thought about is why she's sitting there eating chicken. Like, are you about to host these girls or not? Like, is this a family cookout? Like, I was so confused. I'm like, why is she sitting there eating before her guests arrive? But Britt, her energy for Angela, it didn't make sense. Like, I was just like, here we go. You're like, she's a problem. Like, she's just not likable, and I really don't see her coming back.
Yeah.
She said she was raised.
Say that last part again.
I just don't get it. I really don't like her. I'm just trying to. Like, how do you want to move forward? Like, but I like Angela, and I think Angela is a good fit for the show. I don't like how everybody keeps trying to come for her, but I could see Angela lasting a few seasons, though.
Yeah, I definitely.
Anyways, Yeah, like she has like a good, she's good for the show.
And it's not just because she's a tourist. All right, thanks, Winter.
Okay.
Bye. I really look because if I didn't, there aren't a lot of tourists that I like on reality television, but so far, I like Drew. But like Shamia and Angela, I especially like Angela's vibe. I have to say, because I feel like she is open to everyone. Like she didn't come in. Yes, she came in through Drew, but I don't feel like she's come in like, oh, she's just going to be team anyone. Even her issues with Shamia, she was still trying to make that work, and now they're in a better place. So I like her energy. Even with the conversation with Britt, I felt like she was going to try and help Britt and defend Britt. Like, what grounds are they trying to suspend your license? But Britt had this reaction, like, ugh. I was like, oh, okay. Get her, Angela. Get her. All right, Dalen's backstage. Going to bring Dalen up next. Dalen, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta? Hey. Oh, no. Dalen, we can barely hear you.
You can't hear me?
It's like, it sounds very low.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wait. Is that better now?
How about now?
Hello?
How about now? Can you hear me?
It's like, it's going in and out.
What about now?
Keep talking.
Can you hear me now?
It's better.
Okay. I feel like when Angela comes on the screen, they should play the song, Where Them Fans At? Hit Me One Time. Where Them Fans At? But I feel like Angela's giving me like a Wendy vibe, It took a lot of people a long time to warm up to Wendy. And then when Wendy clocks the T's, that's when people live for her. So Angela was giving me that. And I feel like Britt was hired just like Ashley Darby to like start in with an agenda, or was told to start with Kenya because there's literally nothing that happened for her to be this mad at Kenya, for Kenya to do that. And that's all I have to say. You guys have a good day.
You too. Bye, Dalen. I feel like every time Dalen calls, he's like on the go somewhere. I'm like, Dalen, are you ever home? Okay. All right. Keith is backstage. Speaking of on the go, Keith, what's going on?
Hey, Kempire. I'm not on the go today, though. I'm home.
Okay. What's going on? Are you packing? Look, are you packing?
I am packing, actually. I'm already halfway done.
Oh, of course, Virgo.
Of course. You already know I come prepared.
When do you... Oh, wait, you don't have to share this if you don't. When do you move?
I move May 5th.
Oh, soon. Okay.
Yes, very soon.
Okay. And you're already packed up. Damn.
Already. I'm just waiting for my flight right now.
Oh, okay. All right. What did you want to share?
Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna need all these producers and casting directors to come outside. We ain't gonna jump you. We just want to talk for 1 second. We just want to talk because what was going through your mind when y'all said Britt was great for this cast? I am in complete astounding mode to realize that y'all thought she would be a great fit. And honestly, I just don't think Blicky Britt, that's what I'm gonna call her from now on, because that's definitely what she's giving, Blicky Britt. I'm gonna start calling her that, because the thing is she gives very much love and hip hop vibes, and I do think that her company may be some type of fraud mess, because anybody that posts photos of money on Instagram stories get very much, I can turn your $200 to $500 overnight vibes. Okay, that's it. That's all. And one last thing, she's a Libra for a reason.
Right. Not a Libra. You know what? Goodbye. Is she a Libra? I didn't know that. I might like her. I like Libras. It's all right. All right. Josie's backstage. Let's bring up Josie next. Josie, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Well, Kempire, hi.
Hey.
I feel like I actually do like Kelly, because even like where she was eating that chicken, when Portia called her, she was like, "Don't steal anyone's man now." I was like, "Girl."
Oh, I forgot about that. That was hilarious.
I was like, "Girl, don't say that." It was so funny. And I actually love her energy. She just be clucking everybody left and right. She doesn't even care what's going on half of the time. She's just doing whatever. I love Kelly. She's like a breath of fresh air. What's the other girl's name? Oh, God, Breeze. Yeah. I feel like I want to feel bad. Last episode, I felt so bad for her because of the whole thing. But this episode, bro, what are you doing? Like, she was just trying to help you. Why are you coming for Angela? She said nothing. Like, what is going on here? I just find it hard to feel bad for her. That's about it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Josie, for calling in. I always try to remember everything, and I completely forgot, because I thought that was a really funny moment with Kelly at the, she was getting the phone call from Portia, and Portia's like, "I'm taking everything." And she's like, "Yes, girl, take everything, just not someone's man." Yes, Kel. Yes, that was hilarious. That's why I said Kelly and Angela for me this season. We didn't see that coming. We didn't. And what I also love about Kelly is that she's giving. And again, we are calling her the queen of waffles. I don't know where the money and how that money's doing, but it seems like the money's doing just fine. First episode, she's throwing a big birthday party for her daughter and getting her all kinds of luxury items for her birthday. And she's throwing these parties. She's being festive. She's walking around with security all the time. I'm like, the coin is coining over here. I appreciate it. And she seems very festive and light energy. But that for me was funny. Portia's like, "I'm taking everything." She's like, "Yeah, girl, take everything, just not someone's man." And Portia was able to laugh about it. All right, let me get to the rest of these calls. I gotta go. All right, Justy? Not Justy. Justy? No, Judgy Justice is backstage. Judgy Justice, what did you want to share?
Hi, that's me, Judgy Justice, just in case there was a mistake. I think I really enjoyed this episode. I feel like it was a solid 7 for me. I think that, the parts that I did skip over was Brittany and some of the parts of Shamia and Drew in the studio. It just wasn't interesting to me. I am really enjoying the energy that what's her name? Miss Oakley is bringing to the season, because Angela. I feel like she's just holding people to account and being like, "No, I'm asking you a question. Can we just answer the question?" And it's not, and it's in this like matter of fact way. It's not trying to be super shady. All right, I guess that's my time. Bye.
Thank you, Judge Justice. Bye. All right, Nadia is backstage. We're bringing Nadia up next. Nadia, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kemp, it's India.
Oh, India.
It's okay. So basically, after watching the interaction with Britt and Angela, I just came to the conclusion that she pretty much has a really dark spirit. And it's just like, because to have the interaction, like just to go off over a simple question wasn't okay. And then to also have the expectations, the high expectations of girls that you don't even know that they shouldn't check on Kenya is really weird. Like the only person that she should have had the expectation of is Kelly outside of everyone else. But everyone else, like, you're getting to know, why wouldn't they see what's going on with their friends along with you as well? So,
and she only knows Kelly from the show too. Like she don't have a deep relationship with any of them.
Oh, well, see, they made it seem like they had been friends for years.
No.
Well,
because remember she met Kelly through Shamia.
Oh, okay. Well, then, the high expectations for me, it's giving weird behavior all over again. She can go.
Agreed. Thank you, India. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Noda Queen is backstage. We're going to bring Noda Queen up next. Noda Queen, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
I just want to say I do like Angela and all the half of her storylines that she likes to share with us. I really enjoy her on the show. I like Kelly. I think that her association with Britt is what's bringing her down, because Britt has such a dark spirit around her. But like, I also think that Britt's trying to link this whole license under investigation thing to Kenya, because on one of her poster boards at the salon, it said insurance fraud. So I think, like you said, she's trying to take advantage of them not knowing. And Kenya probably found something that was already going on and wanted to share it. But she's trying to say, oh, it was Kenya. That's why she's like, oh, you don't know what's going on, because she doesn't want to discuss the alleged fraudulence. But that's all I have to say. Have a good one.
Thank you, Noda Queen. Damn it. I have the original audio. I've been meaning to bring it up. I have the original audio of what Kenya said at this event. Should I bring it up? Look. When it was back in June. Look. Where is that audio? All right, let me get to these other calls, and I'll look while everyone is speaking. Vanna's backstage. We're going to bring Vanna up next. Vanna, what did you want to share?
First of all, I'm not here for Britt. And actually, like, after seeing her interview with Andy Cohen's last night, she's patronizing. She's trying to like make a moment, and Kenya is a moment. And so I'm really sick of Brittany. I'm not here for her. I don't stand for her. And that's all. That's it.
All right. Thanks, Vanna. Bye. Look, Vanna couldn't even give me the full 30 seconds to look for the audio, but it's okay. All right. Anthony's backstage. We're going to bring Anthony up next. Anthony, what did you want to share?
Hey everyone, Anthony from Los Angeles, California. How are you, Kempire?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So this episode, I'm gonna give a 6 out of 10. Angela's is asking the right questions because, like Brett, you didn't lose your license for threatening someone with a gun, but you did for someone sharing pics of your past employment. How did what can you do cause you to lose your license? You're lying, and you didn't expect for anyone to be licensed as well and call you out for it. You're not a victim. Angela asked a very valid question. That question pissed Brett off so much because she was lying. Applause for Angela for asking the questions and with the appropriate attitude. And I'll say it again for Brett. With the appropriate attitude, because the switch up was crazy. Love Angela. Thank you, Kempire.
Thanks, Anthony. I found the photo, y'all. So I remember seeing this. We've done multiple videos covering this situation. So this was one of the poster boards. As you can see, there's multiple poster boards behind this one. So this original one said insurance fraud. And then there's just a lot of writing there. So I don't know what was said here. And the reason why we probably haven't heard more details from this event because everyone signed NDAs in order to film. So they can't really speak out about this. Okay. Where's the audio? Oh, wait, this is the audio, right? Hold on. Someone said in the background, that's a penis. Brittany does Lady of the Night. So a lot of the stuff they did not include in the episode. It's everyone's reaction for me because we only saw the faces. We didn't see we didn't hear everyone's reaction. But in here, you can hear people's reaction.
You all of those things, okay? You over here on Snapchat. Your body.
I'm not going to even play that part because we know what she says there. Okay. What was this? Another one? Oh no, this is when they were arriving. So that was just a little snippet of the audio from Kenya's event. None of that, I don't believe, was even played during the episode. All right, let me get to the rest of these calls. I just wanted to remind myself of what was said. All right, Ashley's backstage. We're going to bring Ashley up next. Ashley, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So I thought it was really weird that Britt was having that reaction. I don't think there's anything wrong with the girls checking up on Kenya, especially because they were probably concerned with the fact that she was most likely being let go. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, too, I mean, they want to have a good season. So I'm sure they want to keep the cast together. So that really didn't make sense why she was so upset about that, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Also, I feel like Britt is one of those girls who probably was hated on in high school, and she's just holding that trauma, because I feel like she walks into all of these situations with a wall up, and she's expecting, like, she's giving this aggressive energy that's misplaced. So I just don't understand that. I think that she's really weird and cringy. Shamia, Angela, and Kelly, they should stay. The rest of them can go. That's all.
All right. Thanks, Ashley. All right. We have Audrey backstage. Audrey, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire.
Hey.
Hi. So I want to go into something else. I want to go into the sympathy edit that's happening with Britt, and I want to get into the legality of all this. Mm-hmm. I'm noticing that she, first of all, is appearing on NBC Universal platforms, i.e. New York One. I don't know if people who don't know what that is in other parts of the country, but it's like a local extra kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Owned by NBC Universal. All these little platforms that she's on, even like some of the not influencers, but some of the content creators, she's not going to a content creator like you. She's going to people who will give her more sympathy, right? So I'm going to say this real quickly. I think NBC Universal knows that they did not respond to it properly, and so now they are trying to clean it up by giving her the sympathy edit and making her out to be the victim. That's what I think is going on. That's it. I know my time is up. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Audrey. I mean, look, again, I have to emphasize this to say what Britt did was wrong, but what Kenya did was wrong too. So the sympathy edit is easy because Kenya's response, no matter how you feel about it, this was a work environment. She should have never done that. And if anything, it hurt her more than it hurt Britt. She put Britt in this position to be like, oh my God, look what she did to me. She did that. She gave her the ammo for the pistol. Damn it. All right. Storm is backstage. Storm, what did you want to share? Storm.
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
So, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So really quick, I just wanted to say that Angela, bless her heart, she had me tickled because she was going through it with those hot flashes. And I understand she had that fan. So that really, on a lighter note, that really tickled me. But I am enjoying her and I am enjoying Kelly. And I think production just went a little too far with the cast shakeup. I think if they'd have had Angela and Kelly with some of the, older cast, it would have been perfect because they are giving me my life. But also, I think that for Britt, just to play devil's advocate and give her some type of sympathy, to be fair, she's not the only person that has ever brought up having a pow, that's been in this group and on this show. It was never shown. She never brought it out. So, Kenya she went too far.
All right. Thanks, Storm.
Thanks.
Excuse me. All right. Let me bring up Bernice next. Bernice, what's going on?
Hi, you can hear me because I'm on the go right now.
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to say that I think that what Kenya should have did was expose, like if she found out information about Britt, she probably should have exposed it or did it over the season and not with like billboards about the way she went about it. She should have just talked about it during the season and not put up pictures and stuff like that, because when she was saying that, something about her license being suspended, Angela was checking her real quick and she tried to change the subject really quickly. I peeped that. So I think that they should look more into that. And did you see on Watch What Happens Live how when that guy was talking about Giselle being on pause and Andy was like, oh yeah, coming off of a good reunion. Yeah. That is his pet right there. He loved him some Giselle and she just is boring.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Bernice. I did see that when Mark mentioned putting Giselle on pause and Andy was just like, really? After such a good reunion, hot off that reunion? After how many years? Giselle doesn't have a personal story. I'm interested to see what Giselle is going to give us next season. Let's normalize putting people that have been on reality television for too long a break so that they can actually have some sort of story. What is Giselle going to talk about next season? Her dating life? Okay. All right. We have Comunicado. There we go. Comunicado. What's going on? You're muted.
Hi, Kempire. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll go quickly. I think for me, just to give Brit a little bit of some grace, I think all that we expect from her in terms of what are your issues with Kenya, it might not be totally unfounded because we know quite all right Kenya has a history of trying to poke at the girls. And I kind of noticed, just like she had with Portia, when Portia just came on, the first scene they had together and Kenya went in on that. And I'm like, what was the basis of that? There was really nothing much to that. So it felt like it was just based off of she sees a pretty girl that is young and all of that, and she's a bit just out there wanting to poke. And it probably comes from a bit of the Kenya's pageantry ward, but I don't know where that stems from actually. But I actually do see a bit of Kenya in Brit though, so I know I'm over my time. So I see a lot of Kenya in Brit actually. The only difference is the fact that Brit just isn't as intellectually fast with the reads and all of that. But beyond that, she pretty much exhibits Kenya season 5, season 6 a lot.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for calling in.
All right, thanks.
Let me say, a lot of people say that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. Maybe because Kenya, I feel like it's so damn witty and shady. But maybe there are some similarities in based off of behavior. But so far, I haven't gotten that vibe from Britt. Maybe because Britt isn't witty or shady. Okay. All right. Jeannie's backstage. We're going to bring Jeannie up next. Jeannie, what did you want to share?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's my first time calling in. I'm a long time listener, and I just love you. That's first of all, I just got to say that.
Thank you.
And I am from New York, lived in DC, worked in politics my whole life. Now live in Baltimore, and I'm going to tell you, as a Baltimorean, newly minted Baltimorean, I love me some Kelly. She is the real deal, and she's a Pisces like me, so yes. She's real. But also, I want to just say, how come Britt got to get on Watch What Happens Live? I just don't understand it. I mean, how did they give her this platform? She did something wrong, and it seems like she got no consequences. As a matter of fact, she got bigged up for it. Like, you did something wrong too. How come it seems like there's no consequences for her and all these consequences for Kenya? Now, Kenya, what you did was wrong, but this doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they're giving her all types of platforms to, when you're talking about gun violence, come on now.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you. I'm so in love with you. I'm so in love with you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye. All right. We're going to bring up one last caller, though. But before we do that, I do want to say thank you for these super chats and thank you for the likes. We have almost 2,000 likes. Keep liking the video, guys, because it's easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. And shout out to our replay crew. Be sure to let us know where you're watching from, how you would rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and your thoughts on this week's episode as well. And thank you in advance for those super thanks that you guys send in as well. Sometimes I see them, sometimes I don't. YouTube and their notifications are weird, but thank you to those of you that send them in. If they come up on my phone as a notification, I always try to say thank you or reply it back to what you say in your super thanks. So thank you. Tracy, thank you so much for the super chat. Tracy says, I'm late, but did you see the beads of sweat or tears on Britt's breast? I just can't with her. I'm glad you brought that up, Tracy, because you remember when we talked about, it was during a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap. Not this year, a couple of years back, when Erica Jane and Kyle were in the park and she was talking about her drama. And I believe it was a body language expert, and we talked about this, said when someone lets their tears just sit on their face, and we saw that with Britt, and they don't dry them off, they don't move them, they don't try to stop them, it is quite telling about them trying to be misleading. I'm glad you brought it up, Trace, because I had that thought when I was watching. I was like, why is she not why haven't they given her a tissue? Why is it she's just bawling and then just letting the tears sit there and then it's falling on her chest? I was like, that's interesting. Okay. All right. But thank you so much, Tracy, for bringing that up and for the super chat. I can't remember everything, so I appreciate you guys bringing up things that I was thinking about. Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Another super chat. Keith says, you saw when Britt said twirl onto Angela. It's giving obsessed. Kenya just needs to go ahead to the courthouse and file that restraining order. She did, but you saw Drew clocked it too. And Britt was already starting to give a certain energy towards Drew for bringing that up. She was like, oh my God. So she didn't like that Drew clocked it as well. Okay. All right. Last but definitely not least, let's bring up Lee. Lee, what did you want to share?
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm gonna have a fight with StreamYard later, but that's a different story. I just want to kind of mention that I think Brittany has a problem with being questioned. It seems like every time somebody questions something that she says, she takes it as like 1,000 stab wounds. So it might be something like unhealed from her past. Like maybe she was accused of something, or maybe she wasn't believed enough as a kid, something like that. Like, that's what I'm getting. It's like, why, if somebody questions you, why are you getting to like an army grenade? Like, why is it always like on 100, So that's pretty much my only viewpoint about Britt so far. I think she's like, obviously she's conniving, but,
Obviously.
it is what it is. I think Kenya also is too, but, I don't want to go over it, but thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Take care. I mean, Lee brings up a very valid point why Britt reacts the way that she does. There probably was a lot of trauma in her youth, especially when you think about her getting involved in videos and in that world at such a young age. So who knows what Britt was dealing with or what she's been through from being in that world. Because although we don't want to shame people for being in that world, we also understand some people that are in that world are only doing it because they're trying to make a life for themselves or get out of something, or being in that world, they end up getting traumatized or harmed from being in that world. So who knows? So yeah. On that note, I do want to say thank you to our King's Guards. Be sure to thank our King's Guards in the live chat. Shout out to those of you watching on Twitch, Twitter, on Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. Keep liking the video. We're almost at 2,000 likes with over 3,000 people watching. That will always be interesting to me. Shout out to those of you, again, that have sent in super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps, and have requested me on Cameo. Don't forget, you can hear an audio version of our live recaps and special episodes on the Kempire podcast. Subscribe today, and don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and join our Club Kempire Apple podcast subscription. I'm going to drop something different this week, especially with the White Lotus being over. I'm going to drop something a little different, probably talking about a variety of different things. So be sure to subscribe to that. There is a free 3-day trial available for that. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for being members. We appreciate our members. This was a members only live chat. We appreciate your support on a monthly basis. Become a member today at teamkempire.com/Kempire. And of course, thank you to our friends over at Buttah. Be sure to check out the description for our Buttah skincare discount. All right, y'all. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your day. I get to spend the rest of the afternoon doing nothing. We know that's not going to be true, but at least I don't have a scheduled live. All right. Bye, y'all. I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.